Hello. Welcome to the
Hello.
podcast.
Welcome
Hello.
to the podcast ever.
Okay.
Did you take a treat? Why are they saying you ain't take a treat?
What?
Hell no. All right.
What's up, guys?
We've got a special episode today.
This is the most special we've ever had because, for the first time somebody decides, you know what? We do need people with cameras on this show, not just avatars, okay?
You literally use your camera, Ahmed.
Okay. Not on here. This is a different kind of show, okay? This is our special kind of work, and we can't neglect the uniqueness of this show, okay? So, today we have this guy Ignis. What's up, man?
Hello, how's it going? I still don't understand the name of the show, how it's the podcast ever. Yeah, am I right on that? But it's just like you're missing a word there. You're missing a word there. The what podcast ever?
What?
The best podcast? The worst? I'll just assume the worst.
Huh?
I'll assume this is a shit show.
Bruh.
Why would you say that about us?
Just because of how it's been so far in the first 1 minute of 60
I don't even know where you're getting this from.
Hell no.
Yeah, we're the podcast ever. What's going on?
The podcast ever. Everything's all good. Got a slight bit of work done right before I came on the show, and like the 5 seconds I was in the backstage.
You got work done in 5 seconds?
Yeah, I just need to compile a file and then send it on over.
What's your deal?
Is that what that noise was?
Oh, yeah, no. We had some sort of Islamic speech there before this recording.
No.
Yeah.
I am not working for the Mujahideen.
Good to know. We would have kicked you out otherwise.
Because they don't exist, of course.
What do you find yourself doing on a Sunday like this?
Freelance work, freelance software engineering, because that's what I do. And if anyone needs work, hire me.
What do you find yourself doing on a Saturday night? Let's find something more interesting.
Freelance. No, okay.
What do you do for leisure? What do you do for pleasure? What do you do for excitement?
I spend time with my fiance and then watch a movie or something, and then otherwise it's just we've been watching this financial YouTuber, Caleb Hammer, and he has a bunch of idiots who get into thousands of dollars of debt, and then he comes on and screams at them, and that makes me satisfied.
Bro is in his 40s.
No, we literally watch Julia Child, the French chef, which is from the 1960s.
She like the heavy set one?
She's like 6'2". I don't think she's like
6'2"?
all too fat. Yeah, she's
That's weird,
she was an agent of the OSS, which was like the preliminary CIA in World War II.
Oh, I know all about the OSS.
So what, did they have her sit on people?
I kind of doubt it. Maybe only her husband.
How is she French, but also part of the OSS?
She's an American who I think trained with like French chefs or something. She wrote a French cookbook. She went on a talk show or like news broadcast where she like cooked at the same time. And then all the people who were watching was just like, oh, we really love this. And then like I don't know if she created the format necessarily, but she was very popular, got a show. And then that was on for a long, long time.
Important question. Is the food zogged out?
I would say no. What's absolutely hilarious is there were like no food safety standards back then. So like she would be rubbing up and down like a raw chicken and raw beef and then touching literally everything else without washing her hands.
Nice.
It's hilarious.
Actually, I saw this Instagram guy who he eats raw chicken daily.
Yes.
Yes. So there's this guy, basically, he's saying, I eat raw chicken every day until I get a tummy ache. And every single day he's on there, he's fine. He washes it down with eggs, like raw eggs. He just drinks them, as a slosh, to get that wet, but basically, the theory here is that he's just getting them from pasture, like farms or whatever, like getting them from these ranchers or whatever, because basically otherwise he'd be risking like a 1 in 30 chance of getting salmonella from the store. Right. But it's not like he actually would be automatically getting the salmonella. If he actually did it from the store, it's still not necessarily like the highest odds. It's just, but 1 in 30 chance. I mean, after a month, he's probably going to get it.
But that can hospitalize you. So it's just like, I think the main concern with like meat handling is one with pork and chicken, the bacteria and whatnot can exist inside of the meat structure. which I think everyone knows about. That's why you have to cook them to higher temperatures, or that's why you should.
You don't eat
but
rare chicken?
No,
I'm a
medium
rebel.
rare chicken.
What do you think what do you think would happen if I went to a restaurant and I said, "Could I get this rare?" And it's like chicken.
They would probably say no unless it's like an upper end restaurant and you did it like under the table.
Chicken sushi. That actually, I saw that was a thing in like Japan.
Yeah, that's not okay.
But like, I guess like if the bacteria, I have no idea if it's true where it's like the bacteria already needs to be in the chicken, but if it's a healthy enough chicken, perhaps there wouldn't just be like that bacteria in the meat already. But then it's just like processing the entrails and whatnot can contaminate the surface of the meat too.
Mm-hmm.
And then for pork and chicken, I guess it could penetrate inside of the meat.
See, but there's no way I'm going to make my burgers well done.
Yeah, with that, I'd say just like medium well.
Yeah.
For burgers.
Well, no, not medium well, medium.
Yeah. Maybe.
I went to a restaurant last weekend. I think it was last weekend. It was either that or the weekend before. Now I went to this restaurant. I said, give me a like double hamburger, no bun. And she asked how I want it cooked. I said medium rare. And she's like, oh, well, they can do pink inside, so that's going to be like medium. I'm like, okay. And then I cut into it and it's just past well done. It's congratulations.
Yeah. That's fair. But I'd say like if you're grinding your own meat, then it's just you have a little bit more leeway, because then rather than being all throughout the meat and like once you buy it, which is just store ground beef, you have just the amount of bacteria on the surface that just gets to the inside of the meat. So your stomach acid could probably take care of it by that point.
Yeah. So you don't even need to really worry about cutting it off.
Like the outside of it?
Yeah.
Not too much. It just seems like a bit wasteful.
I mean, like
you could dry age it and then have like dry age burgers, because then you're already cutting off the pellicos.
I would like to have my own grinder. I guess I need a whoa pause.
Yo,
you're pausing yourself.
My meat grinder. Okay. Yeah, you have to pause yourself, man.
We got a meat grinder, but we put some of the parts through the dishwasher, and then like that removed like the outer layer. But we don't use it for ourselves anyway, so it's not too important.
Using it for
fuck those
people?
Cats.
No. Oh yeah, I make
Is it for homeless
raw
people?
cat food.
For homeless people?
Oh.
No.
Hey, they gotta eat something.
Yeah.
Because like
make sure you microwave it.
Ground chicken is like $3 a pound, which is insane. But you can head on to Walmart. You can get
make sure you microwave that cat food for like 5 minutes in the microwave on high, and then just throw it at the homeless people.
That sounds awful. That sounds no good. But ground chicken is $3, but you can go to like Walmart, pick up chicken leg quarters, which is just like the spine, the thigh, the drumstick, and then that'll be 10 pounds for like under $6. So
yeah, I'm still not going to eat chicken in mass quantities. I did buy cow tongue though, just yesterday.
Nice.
That I will be using to make my cow tongue meat. I've had cow tongue tacos. That's the only time I've tried it, but it was really good. I also bought goat's milk yesterday.
Nice.
I got goat's milk, and it was some of the best milk I've had in my life.
Nice. I got
it goes out great.
It was so creamy.
I forget if I'm pretty sure we got the 10-pound. We got the 10-pound bag of like chicken drumsticks for I think it was like just $5. Not $5. I think it was $8. So we're gonna be eating that eventually, but it's just like I'd love to eat only beef or something like that, but it's just too expensive at the places where I go to. I'd need to pick up like a subscription to Costco or something. I mean, we do that, like we have that definitely, but it's just that
get that like 5 or 10 pounds of like ground beef in the tube shape.
We got the 10-pound one,
exactly,
and then I portioned it into like I'd say like 12-ounce sort of like just discs, not even like patties, because we break them up into what we use them for. And then we froze most of it, and I just take it down out of the freezer into the fridge, and then we can have like patty melts or anything like that.
For most of the week, I ate like a pound of ground beef a night.
Damn.
Yeah, I had like 4 burgers.
Oh, and I also got like a pork picnic roast, and that thing is gonna be good.
I get hungry for dinner, man. Like I'm ready to eat.
Fair.
I eat that. I eat like I have like multiple glasses of milk. I have like cheese, like either the raw like Gruyere, or like I had some like Parmesan yesterday because I think we ran out of the Gruyere. And then
You get the fancy cheese, or you get the poor person cheese of
the raw Gruyere is, that's I do get fancy cheese in general a little bit, and not like super fancy, but it's like higher end than like the processed garbage. So it's not the poor person's cheese really. But
you're telling me the pre-grated Parmesan is processed? That's crazy.
Yeah, I don't get I don't eat pre-grated or sliced anymore really. I only eat blocks these days.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, good stuff. I yesterday actually though, I had a lot more dairy for dinner. So what I did was I had sweet potato fries that I'd made the day before. I had some beef jerky, but then I had I had a tall glass of the goat's milk. Then I had a bunch of A2, 2% milk after that. And then I had a big amount of the Parmesan, and then I had some maple syrup in the milk. So overall, and I put some maple syrup on the fries as well, which was incredible. So overall, really good meal. And, honestly, the calcium ratio, because I was looking into this, it was after I ate the meal. I ate all that dairy and I'm like, wow, I already feel full. I don't feel like I need more beef. But I realized I had the protein. But I was thinking about it. I saw on Twitter that somebody was talking about, actually, if you think about it, you should be eating more dairy as your protein because of the calcium to phosphorus ratio, versus the beef, where essentially this ratio would have a lot more of a warming effect, of the actual body.
Isn't there an issue of estrogenic chemicals getting into milks? I think I remember seeing some things where it's just men were tested before and after drinking milk, and their testosterone went down in the immediate
From what I know,
term.
it's negligible. But I mean, I would say probably depends on the source.
Yeah.
Yeah. More so. I don't know. What I get usually is A2 milk. I can't find anything that's low temp pasteurized, because I can't get raw milk unless I go to a farm. But I can't find anything that's low temp pasteurized or anything. But A2 is pretty easy on digestion. The problem is, also it would help to just have non-homogenized milk. If I can have no homo milk, that would be better too, because they compress they compress and mix the fat in, so the fat particles become a lot smaller, and they're actually crossing. I think it's the gut lining.
If you have leaky gut, then it can get through.
Yeah, so there's issues with that itself. So if they just didn't make the milk homo, right? If they didn't if they didn't pasteurize it so high, at least ultra pasteurized and all that, if it was just even low temp pasteurization, and then if I could just find all that in an A2 milk where the cow doesn't have the fucking A1 protein, I would be set. I don't need the raw milk. I just want that milk.
Where do you even get the A2 milk?
You can find it at Target or Walmart. I mean, really, it's pretty available.
I can't go into Walmart.
Yeah.
Why is that?
I just went into Walmart yesterday. That's where I got the goat
going
milk.
Into Walmart is Hercules descending to the underworld and trying to get back. It's not a good time. It's just bad.
Yesterday when I went to Walmart,
you don't even have to talk to the whales in Walmart.
I don't want to see that. I'd like to live peacefully, not knowing whales exist.
No, let me tell you my experience with Walmart yesterday. I went to Walmart yesterday. First time I've went in a long time, inside a Walmart. But basically, everybody's everywhere. All the carts are across the aisles. There's no getting through those aisles unless you go around to another aisle where there's not as many people. Even so, most of the aisles are full anyway. The workers are, for some reason, all Hispanic women, that I had questions about, because I couldn't find and this is new, they weren't like that before, but I just go into the Walmart, they're all Hispanic women. And so I'm looking for stuff. And, I mean, obviously there wasn't that much of a problem communicating, because it's I can understand Spanish and all that and speak it. But basically when I approach them first speaking English, because I don't want to just assume they speak Spanish, but then they just start speaking Spanish, or they just tell me type this in, basically to go through the app so that they can find it. And then everything is basically so disorganized, because the goat's milk, there was a bunch of it, but it was pushed to the back, so I couldn't see it from the shelves. And so the lady finds it in this slim corner, and she's like, oh yeah, it's right there. I'm like, what? And then I have to move to the left to see it. Same for some because one of my family members wanted some macaroni noodles. I tried asking for it. The lady that looked for it, she looked through the aisle, and there was a bunch of tortillas and a mess at the end of the corner, and she's like, it's supposed to be right here, but there was just a shit ton of tortillas all over the place. I'm like, yeah, it's all right. I looked for some laundry detergent as well. And then, I couldn't find that either. I was like, I'm in the right aisle. I look on the app. I'm in the right aisle. I'm looking all over. I'm in the right aisle. I look at the brand. It's not there. And then I have to squat down and look, and it's at the back of the shelf. So it's it's so disorganized. I can't find anything for 3 things. I'm there for a half hour.
Do you ask an attendant every time you can't find something?
If I can't find it and I've been looking for it, I'm not going to wait around until it just magically appears. I did ask about 2 times for I bought 4 things total. I got the cow tongue as well. But, out of the 4 things I bought, I had to ask to find 2 of those things.
I just hate talking with like the attendants or anything else like that. I just don't.
It doesn't make you
No.
nervous.
Not necessarily
You
nervous.
get
It's just like,
scared?
one, I don't want to bother them. Two,
Mhm.
I hate every interaction that I would have with them. I don't see any interaction like that going well because they don't want to talk to you. Like at most,
They're
they're gonna
usually
give you
chill.
a forced smile.
They're usually chill.
Especially if they're Latin women.
Yeah. Well, some of them
They
were
don't
like
like being
older.
bothered.
No, they weren't too moody. They were fine.
All right.
It's probably because he spoke in Spanish.
Well, like one of them I didn't, and she was still fine. The other one, I spoke a little bit to her because she was kind of like, she just started going as if I did speak Spanish already without me saying I speak Spanish. They just do that to me. So I just start doing it.
They just assume, yeah.
Yeah, they do assume. They do assume.
Wow.
Yeah. So I'm here eating orange peels right now.
Yeah.
I
had
mean,
some orange peels
I made
earlier.
the orange marmadade, and that's orange peels, but it's pretty
Yeah,
good.
how do you burn that, by the way?
Okay, so last time I made it,
Oh,
I
you
put too
burned
much
it?
sugar, and it ended up, a lot of water ended up evaporating, and then the bottom of it burned because of the sugar being there. This last time I made it in a bigger pan, and it was fine. I attended it, I attended while it was boiling, and it turned out great.
So it was literally a skill issue.
Well, the problem is the recipe calls for more oranges than I have. So the amount of sugar I have to like figure out how much to put in there. And so the first time I put too much, this last time I put like a little bit under. So I had to add more.
You usually put like the amount of like relative to the fruit you have, depending on the fruit.
Well, I tried doing that, but then I tried doing that, but then I tried it and it wasn't sweet enough. So I added more, but then I guess I added too much that time.
How do you know you got how do you know the recipe isn't just undersweetened?
That's true.
It might be, but
or at least
it says this amount or to taste.
Also, what kind of sugar are you adding? Just white sugar?
Cane sugar, yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
My cane sugar is not white.
Well, my cane sugar is like a little like not brown, but it's like yellowish.
Also,
mine's like in between brown and white.
Yeah, mine too.
How consistently do you stick with your diet? Or it's just like how often do you have exceptions to it?
Rarely.
Really?
Actually, no, I don't know. The only time I can think is like last year when I went out, I did have some like burgers with bread on them.
Right.
But that was almost about it. Like I don't eat like, a lot outside of what I usually do. Like especially not polyunsaturated fats. That's like the one thing I'm trying to avoid as much as I can.
Yeah, I'm a bit different where the fiance likes to eat out more and have like more variety. So I do end up eating pastas and breads and whatnot. But we want to get to the point where
the grains.
Yeah. The like Great Value pasta doesn't actually have that too many additives to it, where it's just got like the wheat, it's fortified with the other stuff like niacin and folic acid and whatnot. But then it's just like salt water, which is good, but the breads are still terrible.
You're still getting the phytic acid, the gluten, I mean the lectins.
Yeah.
All that.
We want to get to the point where at least we can make our own bread so we don't have all the additives.
Just make sourdough, it's low gluten.
Yeah, it's just like keeping it going isn't much work on a day-to-day basis, but you just got to be consistent with it. But we want to get a bread maker, so you just throw the stuff in the morning, and then it mixes it, it proofs it, it cooks it itself, and then it just like goes off, and then you take the like shortened loaf of bread out. And then we would like make a sourdough starter and use that.
I don't know if I've gotten worse at dealing with gluten just because of lack of exposure. It's possible, but like if anything, gluten was never really helping me. Like it never really felt good to eat. But I had a loaf of sourdough in DC, like in one sitting. It wasn't this like huge loaf, but it was kind of like I guess you could fit it in like both hands and like still have a little bit more room. Like it's a little smaller than a football, but still like it's decently sized. I ate it. I felt great after that. Like it really didn't give me any issues, but like I had like it was like a few months before that, I had like a hamburger bun, like with my hamburger, and my stomach was hurting after that. Like I had problems with like gas. So, I mean, clearly like, it is the gluten that's doing that. There wasn't really any other difference.
Well, it could be the additives too.
Yeah.
I don't want to just like completely remove that from the picture, but it may very well be like gluten. But I think my fiance, it's
the
more
lectins
so like
as well, because I mean, like, you know, anything that's affecting the gut is going to have, you know, present that sort of problem.
yeah. If she has like bread, it's not too bad. But if she has like any sort of like processed sort of grain product, then it can be pretty bad.
Well, like crackers and stuff.
More so like ramen, that kind of thing.
I used to have a lot
And
of
ramen
ramen.
can be really terrible.
I used to have
just
so
like
much ramen.
50 ingredients.
I used to eat like ramen like on like a daily basis.
Just the
Oh,
noodles?
yikes.
Huh? No?
Just like the chicken, like the instant ramen.
Yeah, that'll do it.
If it's like her ramen shop, I doubt she would get it, but we don't know because we're poor and can't afford to go out
There's
and get
one.
ramen.
I'm not trying to like dox you or anything, but I'm pretty sure there's a good one not too far from where you're at.
Okay, cool.
Like further up
I can
on the
look
main
into it.
road. Yeah.
Wait, a what?
A ramen place.
Oh, I think like what was it? Like pho doesn't actually present a lot of the problems that ramen does, or I think it was as far as like seed oils go, it's a lot safer.
Also, is this whole podcast going to be about diet?
No, we'll shift eventually.
No, we will ship, but we still have to talk about Greg's trip.
Yeah, wait, hold on.
You're going to play the
We're
sound,
holding.
the speech noise.
Speech noise. Shit, now I'm intrigued. I don't even know what you're talking about now.
The sound that. Okay, yeah, it was.
Yeah, that's the one he was talking about. I was gonna. I'll come back to it, I guess. Anyway, I went on a great voyage to the great. Shit, I don't want to say this. The great capital city of a different state that I may or may not live in. It was nice. It was a eventful trip, despite it being so short.
Nice.
Yeah.
So what'd you do?
I walked around, looked for like bars, clubs, restaurants, stuff like that. And I found out very quickly, if you walk too far in any direction at all, you will quickly be met by handicapped undesirables. We were like driving and looking.
Are you talking about the ones that say "God bless, have a good day"? Or are you talking about the ones that scream and go? Ah!
I guess both.
Okay.
Really.
God bless. You have a good day. All right.
They always say that. You think it's like a guilt like thing? Like they're trying to.
They're trying to get some more sympathy.
Yeah.
Damn. Now I don't like them anymore. Anyway, so there's one point where I was driving down a road and we passed by a gas station and there were like 12 or so individuals in like wheelchairs just rolling around doing some stuff like smoking and shit. It was almost like a gag, like an SNL skit or whatever.
South Park.
But, yeah.
Like they're all outside of the Whole Foods.
Nice.
But yeah, there's a lot of Japanese places there for some reason. It's really weird.
Gotcha.
But yeah, I don't know. I came in saying that this was going to be like a big thing, but I didn't really do much there. Actually, now that I think about it.
So what'd you say you drank there? You drank some sake?
Yeah. So I went to this Japanese place, right? And I was gonna like eat dinner, go to my hotel, relax for a bit, and then go to that one bar you and my other buddy recommended. Then I kind of just didn't feel like it, and I also had to get up early, so I was like, yeah, next time. So what I did is I saw this cool looking drink on the menu at the Japanese place, and it was a mojito, which I like, but it was like mixed with sake, champagne, and soda, plus the usual ingredients. Actually, I don't know if it even had rum, but they didn't have mint. I know that much. So they're like, "Oh, we don't have mint. You still want it?" I was like, "Yeah, bring that shit over."
So how's it?
It was good. I don't know. I don't even know what you would call it at that point because I don't think it had most of the ingredients that are part of a mojito.
It's a Japanese.
I don't even think it had sugar in it.
That's unfortunate.
So just completely false advertising.
I remember the first time I tried a mojito. It was just so sweet. I loved it.
Mm-hmm.
I tried it in Mexico.
You went to Mexico?
Yes, on a cruise. I spent the day in Mexico. Yes, well, you know, we stayed in the safer parts for the white people, you know.
See, but I saw like a news story like a month or two ago, maybe 3, where some people, they just died in their hotel from like some kind of chemical exposure. Some white people.
Yeah, so I didn't sleep there. It was a cruise that stopped, and like we just spent the day there. There was no sleeping in Mexico.
Oh, so as long as you're on the boat, you're safe.
Yes,
Theoretically.
you have to be saved before nightfall, or else you will succumb to the dangers of this Mexican land.
It's like a werewolf thing where like if you see the moon, it's like, oh, it's over.
Yes, if you see the moon
There
in
you
Mexico,
go.
you are done for. You will face the cartel, and they will do some terrible things to you. You will not end up in One Piece, basically.
One Piece.
Yes, that was a One Piece reference.
Yeah. So I mean, I guess.
Why is my boy looking like that when I said that? Come on.
we
Looking
can go
like
into
what?
that.
What, One Piece?
Your face said it all.
It's just zoning out because it's just what the fuck. What a great podcast. This is the podcast ever.
It is. And that's why our fans are known as the podcasters.
Yes.
They have their own podcasts?
No, they're just
they're the podcasters.
They're following us.
Right. Because we're the podcast ever.
Gotcha.
There's a lot of like Zaxby's up there. I don't know why. I don't even think I have
The
any
white
around
people.
me.
Come on, white people love Zaxby's.
Do they?
Yes.
I thought it was
From
a
my
black
experience,
thing.
white people do love Zaxby's.
I don't know. I've never been
No,
to a Zaxby's.
Zaxby's is the white people thing. It's like isn't it PDQs that isn't the white people thing, or is it?
No.
Which?
No. PDQ is definitely the white people thing.
Oh,
I think so.
I don't know. I don't even know if I've been in a PDQs.
It's like a Chick-fil-A but worse.
I've had it like twice. Yeah. They're like tenders are okay. They feel a bit cleaner than other like fried chicken, but
So which one's whiter, PDQs or Chick-fil-A? Chick-fil-A.
Chick-fil-A.
I think
Okay, so-
Chick-fil-A is more diverse. I think
so-
more white people go to Chick-fil-A,
Mhm.
but just because they have a larger market share.
So let's say Chick-fil-A is on all the way on the left of the white. You have sort of, if we're looking at a gradient here, white to black, we have Chick-fil-A, then
Spectrum.
PDQ, then Zaxby's. What comes after that? Then KFC. Yeah, because KFC has
KFC's
to come
not
before
very-
Popeyes.
That's
Wait,
true.
are we going white to black?
Yes.
Oh wait, PDQ's to the left of Chick-fil-A.
No.
PDQ is whiter than Chick-fil-A?
Yeah, I'd think so. I think of the PDQ as like
You're saying
the
PDQ is the whitest
oh.
chicken?
yeah. I'd
about
say like
Church's?
PDQ. It's like, oh, this is the platter that we're getting for the luncheon that we're gonna have this Thursday.
What about Church's chicken?
Church's
That's
chicken. I
that's
don't
on
know.
the other end.
Yeah, I know.
That's
but is
very
it,
much on
but
the
is
other
it
end.
farther than KFC? It is, right?
No,
It
it
is.
has to be.
But is it farther than
KFC
Popeyes? Come on. Which one's
That's.
farther?
I think they might be just before Popeyes.
Okay.
I'd assume it would be like KFC and Popeyes, and then that's the end of the list.
No, KFC, then Church's, then Popeyes. There are white people that go to KFC.
KFC, I always thought as more of like a Hispanic thing.
No, I've thought of Church's
see that
as
at
a
all.
Hispanic thing. I've thought of KFC
What?
as like white.
No. Churches is black for all the way black.
I just thought of it because they have churches in like Puerto Rico.
They have churches in fucking Spain.
I know, but still, it's like it's kind of like when I hear it, I think of there because I've never even really.
Oh,
seen
wait,
it until,
wait,
a certain location.
You mean the chain churches?
What did you think I was saying this whole time?
Literal churches.
What?
What?
You said they have
How'd you
churches
do
in
that?
Puerto Rico, and I was like, well, yeah, so.
Oh,
Did you from the beginning? Did you understand Church's chicken, or is that
No,
was
yeah,
this
I
the only
did.
time that you misunderstood that?
Bro, nobody that's black goes to church like that. Unless it's Baptist. They go to church a lot.
oh yeah.
By the way, I saw a church or a Baptist church right next to. No, I think it was like a black Baptist church or like some like Afro Baptist church or whatever. Right next to a synagogue. That was interesting.
But don't you
I've
know
never
that
seen
black
that.
people are the real Jews?
That's true. Maybe that's like they both wanted the same spot and they're like competing for who's the real Old Testament people.
Oh my goodness. I saw this one clip in the UK, and they have declining numbers of Christians there, but increasing numbers of Muslims. So you have these really historical, old, like theatrical, very decorated churches that are going up for sale and then being bought by Muslims and then being turned into mosques. And the video was just like, keep losing, Muslims will keep winning, or something like that. And I'm just like, I'm not a Christian, but that pisses me off so much. Like, just the disrespect of the heritage of those places.
Was it an Andrew Tate clip?
No. Could have been. It could have been.
Muslims will keep winning.
You're losers.
Yeah.
This is why
You're
I
fucking
switched.
poor.
You brokies can't afford your own churches.
There you go. There you go. And then there was one other thing too that I saw out of Japan, where a Muslim went into like a Shinto Buddhist area, like that had a whole bunch of artifacts. It was like an outdoor museum basically, and just started destroying all of the relics and artifacts and shit.
All right, here's one
It's
more.
just
What
like-
color is your mosque?
The blue moss?
Diverse.
No. What color is your cube?
It's not black.
Okay. There you go.
All right. I think we met our quota for anti-Muslim sentiment.
Yeah, there we go. So we can move on, I guess, if that's the case.
Yeah.
What's our
Yeah.
quota for pro-Muslim sentiment?
It's got to be like a 30-70 split. So the
Hmm.
last like 10 minutes, we're just gonna have to like dick ride them for a while.
Well, no, if
Here,
we,
I'll
like,
just
if we
say this:
bash on
don't
gays-
keep killing innocent Palestinians.
If we bash on gays, I think it'll account for it. I think it will make it up to them.
You think so?
Yes, somewhat.
I think the Palestinian comment that Ignis just made was like a good like 50 points up there.
Okay. Well, if we
So
do
you
gay
might-
bashing, it might just get us over the top.
But then we'll have to like go back and like even it out.
What do you mean?
We'd have to go anti-Muslim again.
You don't want to go over the top. You want to be like right there at the.
You got to keep the
middle.
ratio. The ratio
Okay.
exists for a reason.
Okay.
All hail the ratio.
We're hailing what now?
The ratio.
Hail.
Mm.
All hail.
Caesar.
So,
Um,
Mr. Ignis,
Wait. I'm not done. Hold on. So, the most eventful part of the trip was my eventual return to my land where I call home. And it was on the highway where it was raining.
Live on the highway?
No. The highway is a
Life is
means
a
of
highway.
Jesus Christ. The highway is a means of facilitating my direction back to where I call home. But yes, the highway. So we were driving and it was raining, and it was raining plus windy, and I think there was even a tornado watch at one point. And what happened was when we were on the highway, there were like a ton of trucks, because a lot of trucks use that same road to like get places like around the country, I'm pretty sure, not just that state in particular. So we're driving behind a truck and it's raining pretty hard and it's windy on top of that. And like the rain coming off the trucks, like from behind, would make it so that the trucks become basically invisible while you're driving because they're surrounded by water and fog and shit. So at a certain point, it got to the point where you literally could not see them except for the fact that there's like a huge like hue of fog behind them. So it got to the point where I almost died like at least twice just from almost running into a truck on the highway. But
Dude.
luckily, go on.
I've got a story related to that, but I'll let you finish yours first.
Yeah, eventually we got out of it. That's kind of it. So go ahead.
Okay. I was driving on a highway, like I was just about to pass an exit, and I was like, okay, I want to get out of this right lane just so I avoid any like merging, exiting, and so I'm looking and I'm getting ready to pass, and I start like turning into like the just middle lane, and as I'm doing that, I'm looking back, and this fucking idiot missed, like went into the exit too early or whatever. So then he like had turned around and he was just like straight up 90 degrees turning into that lane. If I hadn't changed lanes, he would have died. I would have hit him straight on the passenger side, driver's side. He would have died. He risked his life just to not go the extra 2 minutes to continue off the road to get back onto the highway. And it's just like, dude, what? Why? There was no reason for that. But it's just like that tiny decision where it's like, I want to get off like right here, and then turns, and it's just like 1 second later, I would have committed vehicular manslaughter involuntarily. Yeah.
He was trying to get the churches.
Well, are we sure it was churches and not Popeyes?
I don't know. I don't know what color that guy was.
But
That's a good question.
That could have been so bad. I was like having flashbacks for like the night after, but then I slept soundly and got over it.
Good. You should have like rolled your
there?
window down.
Hmm.
Oh, okay. I'm going. All right, I'm going. You should have rolled your window down as he was passing or whatever, or as you were passing, and asked him how he would have felt if he hadn't had breakfast that morning.
I don't think I would have had enough time to ask that question.
See, but then you would have noted, like, if he answered a certain way, then you'd be like, this makes sense now.
Well, if you hit him and then he had like a few seconds left to live, you should have asked him that as his last dying breaths. You know,
you get out of your car.
You know,
are you okay? And then you hit him with a question real quick.
It's like, oh my God, are you okay? You don't look well, but I need you to answer this for me. Come to. Have you had breakfast today?
Hey, that's not the question.
How would you feel if you didn't have breakfast today?
There you go.
And
But
he says,
today.
I did have breakfast.
Do you think
No
like
comment.
at that point you'd be able to, would it be more difficult for him to get the right answer even if he knew the right answer?
If you're under the stress of I am bleeding out, dying because I got hit by a car, I'd say it would be more difficult to answer anything.
But you know,
I mean,
he still sits there and thinks and says, I had breakfast today. So I mean, clearly he's just an idiot.
We're assuming that.
No, I think we know this for a fact.
the question kind of solves it.
What if
But
you
yeah,
go
that-
one layer of abstraction more? If you had breakfast today, how would you answer the question? How would you feel if you hadn't had breakfast today? Or go
Ooh.
one layer deeper. There was one post that I saw that went like 5 layers deep, and then you just have to mentally parse out like which part of the question is it, like how many negatives there are and everything like that.
Is it like, how would you not feel if you didn't not eat breakfast or something like that?
More complicated.
But I did have breakfast. So the way I would answer that question.
Why don't you believe me? I told you that I had breakfast.
What does this have to do with anything?
Yeah. I wonder like how much has that actually been studied? Because like I remember the memes of like that the 4chan person like was the originator. It's like I asked these people this question, like so many of them can't answer, and these are like convicted these are convicted criminals and everything like that. And then it's just like much of that is true.
So the people that can answer the breakfast question don't get caught. Boom.
I think they'd still likely get caught.
No, they're just not convicted.
Yeah. Oh.
So maybe they get out of it. They just have good lawyers.
That was
Very,
the
very
question
intelligent lawyers.
in the courtroom. Your Honor, my client knows how to answer the breakfast question.
Oh, you know what? You don't need to be able to answer the breakfast question. Your intelligent lawyers need to be able to answer the breakfast question.
You need to get the judge to answer the question. And if the judge can't answer it, then they're like, oh shit, I can't really judge.
I don't think you're understanding me. The lawyers that you have on board with you need to be of a higher intelligence quotient in order for you to not be convicted. And so therefore, they need to be able to answer this breakfast question.
I
So
mean,
you're saying-
if I had a lawyer who couldn't answer the breakfast question, I would be very concerned.
No, I honestly, I would, if anything. Yeah. I really would. I honestly, you should ask that any legal firm you go to in like the introductory thing. Like it's like, what do they call it? The first one that you do, the first meeting.
Consulting?
Yeah, they call it consultation. It's like, I would ask them that as one of the first questions.
All right, Jamie, we're going to get you out of this. Don't worry about real quick. How would you feel if you didn't have, what do you mean, Jamie? I had breakfast. I had an apple and oatmeal. What are you talking about?
Oh my God.
Well, I think that's it. You have billable hours of 1 minute. There you go.
Will they still charge you for the full hour?
Possibly. Probably.
Do you have to pay in advance?
Good to know.
Because if not, I can just walk out, right?
Somebody should do a thing where, you know how they say, like, if you only pay if you win, you only pay if if you get good consultation.
Mm.
Yeah, sometimes they have like free consultation, probably, but
They're not playing the
What?
game
They
right.
have they have pre to the consultation?
free.
Free.
Oh, they said pre-consultation.
No, because what is the difference between a pre-consultation and a consultation?
I
That's
know,
just
right? That would just be the
consultation of the
consultation.
consultation.
Yeah.
It's probably just like that's what they like. Here's the information that we want you to have ready for consultation. It's
I
like
would think it's like a
internet
preliminary discussion just to see if it's even worth your time to do the consultation.
I don't think it would be discussion. I think it would just be like text communications or anything like that.
Well,
But if you
anyway.
want to be official, you'd have like an official office meeting about the consultation.
Mm.
I don't think people prefer that much bureaucracy.
Hey, if it's a free pre-consultation,
Mhm.
then you have nothing to lose.
Of course, except for your time.
People don't think that far ahead.
You know, we just need these legal fees to be a bit cheaper though, because you know, who wants to go to court for all that money?
I wonder why legal fees are so expensive. I have a
Yes.
feeling you took this in a different direction than I was meaning.
Yes, I wonder why.
What direction did you take that comment in?
I think you know what direction I took that
I
right.
really hope not.
I'm gonna steer the ship away from the rocky shore here.
I'm gonna say it's because of the state monopoly on arbitration, and that's the sense in which I meant it. I think I know.
He's trying
which
to save
direction
himself.
you're taking. No, I
in. Don't let him do it.
I know the sense in which I meant it, and I will make no apologies for saying the statement.
Oh, he doesn't back down. You remember that? You hear that?
What?
He doesn't back down. You hear that?
Yeah, there you go.
Egg roll?
He stands by his statement. No matter what, no matter how you take it.
Yeah.
With cream and sugar?
It come with
There
egg
you go.
roll.
It'd be ready in 10 minutes, 10 minutes, 10 minutes. Okay. You're going to ask Ignis something?
You know, I don't even know. At this point. You know, honestly, I think I might have just been like coming up with some bullshit to ask. You know, it was coming out of my mouth as my brain was processing it, honestly.
That's the best
Who
way to do
watches
it.
this podcast?
Winners.
Winners.
Podcasters.
Winners. Yeah, the podcasters actually.
What's the value proposition of this podcast? 3
Informational,
jackasses talk about there.
entertaining,
Mm.
lifestyle content, and
Well, what
Not at all.
informational thing should? Well, I guess we talked
and
about like, food stuff.
advice on health, but not. This isn't medical advice.
No, not medical.
This
or
is just some guy
financial
with an
advice.
opinion. Advice
legal
on
advice.
advice on game, and
On game.
yeah, game is game. Right? You know, like game. You don't know game? Do you not know game?
Here's my advice on game. Don't go to nightclubs. Don't go to bars. Anything like that. Pick up like whatever, like for Panera. Pick up like the Panera like free drink, unlimited drink subscription thing, and then just go to Panera, see if there's any cuties, and then just like play your game from there because those are more normal people than you would find at the bar or nightclub.
Where'd you meet your fiance?
I met my fiance at school.
Okay, so that's actually a common meeting place for a lot of people. Now,
Wait. Our school?
No, before that. It was
Okay,
like
anyway.
High school?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
both that and university are a common meeting place for people. But point being, a lot of the ways people actually meet. Oh, okay. Is that it? What is happening here?
Just something in the background.
Okay, a lot of the ways people actually like meet is generally not like these like meet cute things where it's at like the grocery store or at a restaurant or something. That is a small minority of how people actually meet. So what you're seeing is like people do it through like education, like whether they're in high school or college. People do it at work with coworkers or like generally like in a social circle with friends. And then there's like a few at like the actual clubs, but like mostly like bars if we're talking like actual like, you know, nightlife. And then dating apps like that, I would say that one is like actually that is somewhere where people meet. But generally speaking, those are the like territories in which people are actually interacting like that. You know, you're not actually seeing a lot of people that are, it's like, oh, I approached this woman at like did a cold approach in like a random, you know, place that like is like sort of like these spaces like restaurants or again like the, you know, a market. You don't see a lot of that. And so what I'm thinking is like, okay, yes, you are giving that advice from, but not as somebody who got a girlfriend doing that. Right. So it's kind of like, if anything, I saw somebody compare this to like boomer advice, where it's like just go into the place with the job, shake the hand of the manager, and you got it, right? So it's like boomers are kind of like out of it in the sense that like they didn't actually like, or I guess at their time it might have been more feasible to do that, but that's not how it works today. Or I mean, just in the sense of like they're giving advice that isn't necessarily like how they attained what they have. So I think I'm not saying it's impossible to do it that way. I'm just thinking like based on the person I was reading who was talking about this. The most sound advice seems to be that like it would be the most optimal thing if you want to find like a woman in the United States, right? Like it would be find a social circle of friends, or I mean, you can just get a dating app if you really want to. And I mean, it's probably gonna be in your best interest to actually pay for it, because no guy's like getting like just, you know, like success, like just doing like the standard version. But anyway, point being, you would essentially want to find, like, you would want to get your game down on point, right? And then you would want to have a social circle of friends that is more conducive to finding the kind of woman you're looking for. So if you're not doing one of those two things, it's pretty unlikely that you're actually going to, you know, just find somebody in a cold approach. I mean, it's possible, but, you know, honestly, it's not even something that's necessarily like, you know, I'm not saying it's not socially acceptable, but it's definitely like not like looked upon as like something normal or like something that is frequently done or something that's like, you know, necessarily like something that isn't. I'm not saying it's, you know, it's necessarily creepy. I'm just saying like it's something that will be sort of almost, looked down upon like a little bit.
It's
What do you mean
high
by cold
risk.
approach?
Yeah. You said what?
What do you mean by cold approach?
Like approaching a woman, like, you know, that you do not know, but like basically like, you know, essentially like just presenting yourself and saying hello, like, you know, giving an introduction, like just like that. You know what I mean?
Hello.
Hello. I would
but
say
basically like no other common sort of interest has drawn you there other than the fact that like this is somebody that you take interest in.
I would say if you're instantly going for trying to make it romantic, I don't think that would work. I would say try to make it like a friendship first and then romantic. Generally. Friendship as in like getting to know the person on a friendly level so that you know their basic personality to where then you could pursue a romantic relationship.
Oh, well, I mean, isn't that... I don't know why you wouldn't do that. Why would you just go straight to, hey,
you want to go
me to be
on a
inside you?
date?
Hey, want to come back to my place?
Not, but like getting to know the person and then like chatting before you go on any like explicit date. Anything else like that?
That is just like talking. That is not necessarily a friendship.
That, like, cold
that is a talking. That is what people call the talking stage.
Talking, I'd still say has that like subtext of romantic interest and whatnot, though.
Well, why wouldn't you want to at least make that somewhat clear? Like, you know, that it's not necessarily that like you think it's going to definitely happen, but it's like sort of like at least like showing that you are interested in that regard. Like you at least have some interest there. Like you are at least like seeing to see if you guys are compatible. You know, you're at least in that like sort of mindset.
I'd say you need to like the first bar that should be met is you need to establish if you can have a genuine friendship with the person. Because like your wife is going to be your life partner who you need to be able to be friends with on top of any sort, like just purely, not even like necessarily platonically, but purely on a non-sexual level. And then if you can't be friends with this person on a non-sexual level, how do you think you're going to be a life partner with them?
But what do you mean by friend? Like you mean like somebody that you can like tolerate being around? Is that like essentially like the baseline?
A higher bar than that you want to be around, that you actively want to be around. That you want to be around to the point where you would be able to work through any issue with any annoyances or anything else like that.
So like to a point where if there were some kind of issue to come up between like a disagreement of sorts, it would more than likely be something small enough where you'd be able to overlook it given the value of the person in your life already. Yeah.
And not just overlook, but want to work out. Never try to sweep your problems under a rug because it's just gonna fester. You always want
That's
to
fair.
bring it out.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
But also, I think like developing my based off of my experience, I'd say you shouldn't necessarily wait till marriage to have sex, but you should wait till you want to be with that person forever.
Okay, so I
Which-
think that was
which can
enough
be good.
to bring us back out of the higher pro-Muslim range. So we'll probably have to do that 10-minute dick riding.
Wait, what? Oh, because he said it doesn't have to necessarily be marriage, so we're not following the law exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay,
The
unfortunately.
Quran is pretty strict on that. I
Yeah.
think. I don't know. I've never read that shit.
Whoa,
I
now
have
we really
one.
have to do some of that.
Yeah.
You
counseling.
have one.
I do have one. I walked up to the Muslim kids at the
Oh.
school fair thing, and I was like, "Hey, can I have a Quran?" They're like, "Yeah, sure." After like 20 minutes of them trying to convince, I think it was you in particular, that Islam is right or whatever.
They didn't spend 20 minutes on me. I kind of dismissed a lot of it. Like we just had a short, like couple minute discussion and I just kind of like gave like basic answers, even though I'm like, yeah, I don't believe it. So, but anyway, I just kind of walked away after that. And then you spent some time with them.
Yeah. My funniest argument that I've heard against God is from Zulu. And it's only like a debunking of like the Omni God, which there are already like a couple debunkings of the Omni God, which is just like the classical one is like, can God create a boulder so big that he himself cannot lift it? Or it's just like, if he can, then he is not all powerful, for he cannot lift it. If he cannot, then he's not all powerful, for he cannot create it.
Yeah, can he create a second one of himself? Can he like destroy himself? Yeah. Like, all these questions are sort of like, can he actually act within, or like, can he act outside of logic? And it's like, no, this God, no God could,
Yeah, but Christians usually retort with, he's the maximally powerful God. So maximally powerful to the point of not reaching logical contradiction.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I have heard that as well as like a sort of a rebuttal. Like he is confined to logic still.
Yeah. And I'm going to turn off my camera.
Why would he be?
Now you're seeing Ron Paul. Put some respect on his name.
Does that, like, why is he confined to laws? Like, it's essentially like, if he's the creator. No.
This is more so of a argument that I've heard from the secular perspective or whatever, where it's if God were to dip his magical hand into our reality, it would come out dripping physics. And I think in a similar way, it would come out like dripping logic. To where even if he were to be this like abstract entity outside of reality, if he is to interact with reality, he must follow its laws. Except any way that he can interact with reality, and this is Zulu's argument, a miracle is necessarily an object or a thing acting against its nature, like water turning into wine and everything else like that. But for an object to act against its nature, it would need to, I think he relates it to violating causality, because there must be something to cause it to change its nature. But for something to cause it to change its nature, that would be a natural explanation. So for it to be supernatural, it would require a violation of causality.
So basically, if God just goes in and replaces all the atoms, then it's just natural, but it was just something done very fast.
There must be some process by which to explain the replacement of atoms, or else for it to be a miracle, there can't be that explanation.
He's actually invisible and has really tiny hands and just grab them all out and then put new ones in.
Yeah. Whoa. There was like a quantum wave field which intersect, like coming from all different directions and intersected at the same time, causing a shift in the energy, changing the atoms. And it's just like, okay, sure, that it would be a natural explanation, but it's just like,
but it necessarily has to be.
Yeah. Or else it would be a violation of causation. So I would say his argument, I think, adds upon like the omni God proposition, to where miracles can exist because they would be violations of causality, which I think is more than that other one was an argument against. But it's just like, without miracles, then God can't really interact in reality. So then it's just like God as a proposition is kind of worthless by that point.
I came up with that argument on my own in a different way. Like basically the
Right.
same thing but phrased differently. Like the idea of a miracle is the idea that it is an event that contradicts what is considered reality or the laws of logic. But then you could argue, okay, well actually since God is logic or God is reality, then he's not actually going outside of reality. But then you still wouldn't identify a miracle as anything in particular unless it already was going against logic. It would just be another event. So
Right. So anything that would make it like supernatural would make it unnatural and thus like contradictory to its own nature.
right.
So
That sort of
Ignis,
thing.
what was your upbringing like related to religion?
I was raised Baptist, I think First Baptist. But
Let's
then
go.
I had the edgy atheist 12, 13-year-old phase after I found the Four Horsemen of Atheism, Matt Dillahunty, and the rest of them. But I think I watched Matt Dillahunty more so for a longer time because he was more of a content creator. I watched when I was a kid, I watched the debate between Matt Dillahunty and Jordan Peterson, and I didn't understand like what Jordan Peterson was getting at all, and I thought Dillahunty came out on top. And then I watched it more recently, and then I understood what Jordan Peterson was saying. I think he did a pretty poor job of communicating exactly what he meant.
Typical.
But then I'd say it was more mixed.
Ooh, you want to give us like a quick rundown of what that was exactly?
So I think what Peterson was getting at was atheists take as just suppositions things that they cannot justify. Like there are few proclamations that you cannot necessarily have complete confidence in, that you have to have a slight bit of like unjustified confidence, or it's just like the future exists is a bit of a proclamation that you or claim that you can't necessarily know until it happens, and then you have direct experience of not the future but the present. So you must like move acting forward under the belief that the future exists so that you then benefit your future self. But the one that he was getting at was, I think, some of the moral foundations, and I think Dillahunty doesn't really have strong moral foundations or like foundations for moral proclamations and beliefs and everything like that. And I think he's just basing it in a culture. Dillahunty's a statist too, so it's just like kind of relating it to like government law and intersubjectively true things, where it's just like we can agree that this is bad. Okay, but why is it bad? Because we agree on it. That doesn't make for truth. That sort of thing. And then it's just human well-being. I think he's like a secular humanist, so it's just like basing it off of human well-being. And it's just like because it's also typically utilitarian, because we're going to calculate how much human well-being there is and everything like that. But
we're just a better breed.
Yeah,
we're built different.
But I think one of the things that Jordan Peterson was trying to get at is also through demonstrated preference. Dillahunty believes things which he denies, like he verbally says he denies. But I think Peterson wasn't too good at communicating what he meant by like the demonstrated preference sort of
What
thing.
would you say about the preference? Like, what was he trying to make the point of? Like, what were examples he was giving?
I think this might have been related to it. It's been like a year or whatever since I rewatched the debate, but if you put God, like if you label the thing at the top of your value hierarchy God, then you are acting towards God. It just depends on what. So it's atheists believe that there is a God, but it's just like themselves or someone they love or something else like that. It's typically yourself until you have someone that you love that you would sacrifice your life for. Or it may be a bit contradictory, but having several people at the top, like say for a husband and wife, like the husband may hold himself and his wife at the top because their lives are so intertwined, they become one and everything like that. There's a bit of contradiction there to where you have to make, like, given a scenario where you have to make a choice where it's like a binary option, then you can't just choose both. So there's a bit of like finagling to work out there. But as far as the Dillahunty thing goes, then he's just like, okay, but you do worship a god in a way.
Well, see, no, I've heard this argument presented before, but the problem with it is like you're just saying like to have a value hierarchy is to believe in God the same I do, and it's like, well, what? Wait a minute, hold on. You're okay. So you're saying because I value things, all of a sudden, like I must like see that there is some sort of like supernatural deity. Like how are the two connected exactly?
It's just too charged of a term. I don't think you should just label it God. You should just label it as like the highest valued. It wouldn't even necessarily be a thing. Highest valued concept.
Oh, you have a purpose? I have a purpose, but except for it's because I believe in this thing. So you must believe in that too.
See, the thing is, it's like equating the idea of values as being a necessarily theistic or supernatural thing to begin with.
And I think that's what it does.
Yeah. It's like the idea that materialism and what's the other one? Like non-material items must necessarily exist separately in one's own mind when that's not really true.
And they seemingly try to make this like a negative thing about self-interest because it's like, oh, you serve yourself, like you must be some sort of like Satanist or something, because that's what Satanists do. They have themselves as like their top,
worshiping themselves as God. But it's just like, no, I think that's not the worst thing about Satan. I think the worst thing about Satanism is more so like the one, sometimes the acceptance of like evil, so it can be aggressive, but then also it's hedonistic. It leans into hedonism and that sort of thing, and where it's just like anytime that it's like you want to value your future self over your current self. That I'd say is the proposition that one should accept if they want to live a happy life, or like one of them, if they want to live a happy life. Because if you value your current self over your future self, you're going to hate your past self because you're going to be in such a shit situation. That's where it's like, oh, I benefit this much from doing drugs now, which is really good for my current self. But at some point, I'm going to go through withdrawals, or I'm going to experience the consequences of that. And that'll be so much worse. But I appreciate this more in my current self, so I'm going to do it anyway. And that's just going to set you up for failure. It's not acting in your self-interest. It is acting against your future self's self-interest.
I don't even necessarily make that sort of distinction between my future self and my current self. It's just me. So I'm thinking like later down the line, I'm going to have to deal with these consequences. I don't want, because I'm thinking from it, like the current self is considering like what I will have to continue to experience. You know what I mean?
Well, what would you say? Would you say you're different from your past self?
I mean, like I've changed in certain ways, but like that was still me. I am like,
what would you say me
I became, huh?
What would you say me is?
Well, I mean, it probably would just, I mean, it is what it is. Like A is A, like I am myself, like I am, I mean, if you want me to define what contents make up myself, I mean, obviously it's like my body and my mind, like my mind is part of the body, but everything that is contained within my flesh is me.
Let's say the mind changes over time as well as the body. And I think the mind is the more important part because we're meat machines. We're self-aware meat machines controlling this fleshy mech suit in a very
well, I mean, like, yeah, obviously like the mind is what I'm sort of like, like I know like my body is of course expendable like to an extent as far as like let's say my arms and legs aren't necessary for my survival. There are other parts of me that aren't, but whatever contains myself is still myself. But I guess like my mind is sort of like I guess the software to that hardware is sort of like what matters most here.
Yeah, but I would say that software changes over time with the new experience, where it's like if you were to have, or like the state of your brain changes with each incoming data signal, with each incoming thought or like internal thought that you have. The state of your brain changes, and I would say you are like, to hopefully not overextend this analogy, you are the state of your brain currently. Where if you made an exact copy of all the place of the neurons, but you didn't have the same like myelin sheaths, which make neurons that fire together like faster, and you didn't have the same like electrical signals and action potential stored within the neurons and whatnot, and just copy the structure without those finer details, then it wouldn't really be you. But if you have the encoded state of your brain, I don't think you could necessarily like copy transfer that, and where your consciousness would transfer over, but that would be an exact replica of you itself.
Mhm.
But that, given that you are the state of your brain, then you do change over time, and like it would be a different you, but a mutation of yourself, and mutation as in like changed data.
So, I mean, how would you relate that to like identity? Like, is identity like a collection of those yous? Because I mean, like, it's not as if every single second, like I am, you know, you would say, I guess you would say you're a different you, but then like, what am I as far as like, you know, the collection of all of that?
It's like trying to relate it to, trying to translate it to a topic that isn't just esoteric. But if you have like a set of any given item, like I'm just gonna try to relate it to data. If you have like a set of 100, or just like we'll relate it back to states. If you have a set of 100 states, the set itself, I would say, is the overarching you.
Mm-hmm.
But to speak in finer detail, you could say you are the brain state at t equals now.
Mm-hmm. So, I mean, like the thing is, you would say like, you're saying like you would hate your past self. I mean, I would say that matters to you because if you were just yourself, like at the moment, why would that matter to you? Right. Like, I think the reason it matters to you is because that set, if anything, is like a part of a greater identity that is like essentially like part of your part of the way you experience yourself.
I would say yes, but how are you relating that to the hating yourself thing?
Well, essentially, what I'm saying is like these states essentially come together to make like your sort of like or not lived experience, but living experience, like sort of, you know, how I am interacting with the world right now. Like I mean, I do have some of a part as far as how I feel about those things that I've done in the past, but you know, those like come together to essentially like, you know, I have to philosophically, or I guess like use value judgments to decide whether or not those states actually matter. But the thing is, those states exist, and I'm the one to judge them.
Sure, but I would say like the important thing is valuing not what the state in t equals now or like the immediate future matters. I wouldn't say like you should value that. I'd say you should value the far further future. And there's a degree to which this describes time preference, to where the amount of time in the future that you should value is determined by a couple different things. But the more that you can accept a foregoing of pleasure in the short term or an experience of slight stress in the short term, to experience a greater amount of happiness or greater amount of pleasure and or less stress in the long term, the better.
So my question here is, do you say that you should solely value the future instance of t equals, you know, whatever, or should you do like the t equals now as well? Like, should you have like some sort of value to that? And like, you know, obviously, because like I'm wondering if like, do you feel you should enjoy the moment, or should it just be something like you are always working toward a future version of yourself for that version to be happy? But then if that version's working for a future version to be happy, then that version's never happy either.
I would say it's there's probably like a sort of formula that you can make over it to where there is a certain amount of, if you do not experience the leisure in this moment, then it will negatively impact you later to where you'll experience stress without leisure. So I think just due to the what's it called, the disutility of labor, which is an economic concept, you can come to the conclusion that you do need to experience pleasure in the now, so not to experience negative emotion and stress in the future. And then if you can experience pleasure now with hypothetically zero cost in the future, then that would be good. I just don't know necessarily if there would ever be like a zero cost, because everything happens with respect to time. So if
Right.
you are doing something now, you are foregoing other action. But you just have to balance that with your inherent disutility of labor.
Yeah. So essentially, like what, the point would be is like, if you are not making any sort of sacrifices now to enjoy the moment, you would essentially be working your life away, because there is no moment at which you say, this is the now, I want to enjoy it. It's just always going to be, I need to work so that later me can, experience something better. And I mean, obviously like the leisure part. Yeah. Okay. So you do actually want to kind of like balance out the stress you're experiencing later. But then again, like the leisure is also giving you a comfort in the moment. So it's kind of like, your body is essentially like to the point where it needs that sort of relaxation so that you can sort of be in a better state, But the point with that would be that it's like, I am trying to resolve an issue I feel right now. And then sort of like the outcome of that is that in the long term, I also have I benefit from it in the long term as well. So my thing is like, you can enjoy the now, do something that is like, good for you, but also, that thing that is good for you that you select, I mean, can also be conducive to something better in the future without necessarily having to be like, a sacrifice or anything.
Yeah. But I would say what you want to do most is align what is good for you now to what is good for you in the future. And I would say the most important thing for that is getting married, having children. The trad lifestyle is how to achieve true happiness, because you're not going to, I wouldn't say you're going to be all too happy in the future if you're wasting away your life alone with like nothing to show for it but like materialistic shit.
So why do you say that, the family aspect is something that is like, something actually to show for yourself? Like, why is that something that it, like, why does that bring a unique pleasure?
I would say people can be like some of the most interesting things to experience in the world, not to objectify people, of course, but there's going to be an inherent amount of that, because in a way we are objects, but we are more than that. And what makes us more than that is our ability to act, to implement means towards ends. And in that way, it just creates such a complex structure of thought, and eventually consciousness, I think. And that makes for one of the greatest adventures in your lifetime, to experience life together with another person, and to go through all that together. And then just the, not in a literal way, but miracle of life in bringing in another person and raising that person and growing with that person, in a way allows you to become the greatest version of yourself, because it requires you to cultivate so many virtues to make you a better person and live. And I'd say part of virtue is the more virtue that you have, the better life that you're going to live. That's how virtue is how you achieve the good life. But that cultivation of virtue you wouldn't get you wouldn't get as much of a lesson or opportunity to grow without such a family. I would say, like, initially women civilize men, and then men can civilize women in ways too, and help them grow and support them. But then it's just like children, being able to raise children and bring them to the point where they can create a life for themselves and be happy is insanely valuable, I'd say.
So what would your response sort of be to the sort of like condition that, we see ourselves in today, where, you have to have that sort of, like, generally speaking, like, it's going to be a lot more affordable to live life where you're having like two incomes, the wife has to work as well. You're going to have the children be sent to like a daycare or like, obviously public school, which is just like a children's prison. But, basically, there's a lot more of a disconnect. And I mean, this is something we even talked about, where it's kind of like, you don't really have that sort of like connection that some other people do to their families here. And I mean, you could just kind of like generally get the idea of that. I mean, an example I gave was sort of like, I don't know, what was it? I think it was like, just like how people act with their parents, or like how, parents kick their kids out at like 18 a lot of the time, just sort of say like, well, you're on your own, you're an adult now. sort of there has been a lot more of that, and I mean, I don't think it's necessarily just like a cultural aspect of just like emerging just from the fact that like people, have some sort of like resentment towards children. I mean, I would say that probably like was caused, if anything, by like the economic situation and what has been more feasible for people to live under. So, I mean, what would your response to something like that be?
I would say it was definitely caused by the economic situation. There are so many housing regulations that make having a starter home so expensive. And so it's harder for people to start families sooner. And if you can't start a family in your 20s, you're less fertile in your 30s. And then it's a high risk pregnancy, I think, after 35. So you shouldn't be having kids then. So then they only end up having like 1, maybe 2 kids. But I'd say like having 2 to 4 kids is better. Well, like you at least want 2 because then they can like grow, like raise each other in a way as well. But having
also that replacement level.
Yeah, also the replacement level. Also car regulations, like the most expensive things are cars and houses for people for the most part. If I just want the bare bones necessary car, I want air conditioning in my car. It doesn't need heating. It doesn't need like warmers or anything in the back. I want a manual window because every single car that I have been in, one window stops working because the motor detaches from it or whatever. I just want a manual fucking window, but no one makes them anymore. They're all over-engineered pieces of shit. I appreciate crumple technology to where like, oh, it's safer to get in a car crash, but it's just like, I don't want to replace the whole fucking frame of the car if I get into a little fender bender.
Yeah.
It's a piece of shit.
Happened to me not too long ago.
Oh God. Or just like, I don't want it totaled by my insurance company or anything else like that.
Yeah.
But all of this like over engineering of cars is just a pain in the ass. And like, oh, and if like a new kits and like electromagnetic pulses like a given area, all cars made after it's like 1980 or 1970 something, they're just bricked. They're done.
Bricked
Nothing.
up?
Yeah,
Bricked. Yeah, that's what I
there's
thought.
so many computers in them. There's so many computers in them where they can't work. But definitely economic condition is terrible for that. Because then it makes the mom work. And I would say it's perfectly acceptable and normal for the mom to have like a part-time job for when the kid is past newborn. Yeah, but it shouldn't be it should be entrepreneurial, I would say. Being able to stay at home, like make something, do something where she could still spend time with the kid, most certainly. It's important to show that adults need to be doing adult things. They can't just play all the time. But also they need to be heavily involved in the life where it's like an adult can have a full-time job and a part-time job. Part-time job could be a hobby or anything else like that. It's not much of a job, but it's like if you have a full-time job and then play a lot of video games and smoke weed, if you have enough time to do that, then you can have a part-time job on the side. So similarly, mothers can have the full-time job of being a mother, and being a mother is most certainly a full-time job. But then they could have the part-time job of doing something craftsy or gardening or anything else like that. But the situation with like daycares and schools, it's just like raising the kid is like, that's the valuable thing. It's not about the destination, it's about the journey, and you're just foregoing the whole journey so you can spend time in the fucking office so that you can pay for the daycare. Like why? What's the point of that? Just save money. And
you're just popping that thing out to just have it like, go away after 18 years.
And then you're forced to pay into public schools too, where that's money that you could have otherwise had in your household to not spend on education as you homeschool your kid.
Yeah. So the question would be from that, I guess, is like, what's the realistic solution? I mean, like, is the guy just supposed to work more? Like, what?
I would say it's important for the man to make the primary income, just because I think that's how gender dynamics
just more than the woman. I just mean more on top of what you had to work before.
And then
just in general,
it's incumbent on the man to hustle. I think With remote work, that has opened up a great opportunity to live rural and then still work what would otherwise be an inner city job that would pay high income. I think we've seen the globalization of labor, which for better or for worse has decreased average wages than they otherwise would have been just from protectionism. Sorry, I'm just been talking for too long. Which has been unfortunate in some ways, fortunate for other people in other ways. But just hustle makes like other streams of income. I've started some other projects where I've written 2 out of 3 children's books in a little bit of a trilogy explaining libertarian ethics and economics in just like the most basic way to where I think it could be understood by like a 6-year-old, because it's just like truth refined can be extremely simple. Such as just like everything in the Austrian theory, where it's just like, here are these facts about reality, and then from that we can extrapolate more advanced things that gets into a little bit of math, but just like more advanced logical concepts. But I think falsehood must cloak itself in complexity. And that's what you see with the Keynesians and their models and everything else like that. And then when their models disagree with reality, they say reality is wrong. And it's just like, oh, it's just different circumstances. The model's still correct. So they continue to use it.
Right. I remember, because economics classes kind of were nonsensical 90% of the time.
It is terrible. It's just like they take the supply demand curve, and then it's just like, oh, even though it's discrete, we're just gonna pretend it's not, just so like we're gonna sell 1.42 cereal boxes, and then the ideal price is gonna be 3.9463. Blah. It's just like, no, things are discrete. They sell at certain prices. Whatever. But I'm also writing an intro to programming using Python book. And I want to get those probably self-published. And if I get those self-published, then I'll have those streams of revenue, because this is advice that I heard from Tim Pool in one of his episodes, where it's just like, if you just write a book and then create an ad campaign and then adjust the price of your book to just over the price of getting a customer from your ad campaign, then you just leave an ad campaign running and you'll just get revenue. And you just keep an eye on it, make sure that the price of the book never goes under the cost to get a new customer, and then you'll just have that source of revenue.
It's a pretty good idea.
Yeah. And then especially if it's like an ebook, then the cost of printing the book is nothing. So it could a lot of the cost could just be made into advertising it. And then I think Amazon helps you publish a book to where they'll print it for you on demand, basically. And then AI generated art can be a great asset for the people who just want to specialize in one thing, like writing, and then don't want to draw. I think people do still value human-made art, but I think for like my children's books, I'm going to release one edition, the first edition, that's going to be with AI generated art, and then I may make another one later that's with hand-drawn art.
Refine it later on.
Yeah.
So basically, your point is have that sort of mindset that
like
you need
hustle
to make that money. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Basically, have your hands in a bunch of different buckets, I guess, without it taking up all your time.
You should almost make an e-course on this or something. You know, you could call it Hustlers University.
But most importantly, I would say you need to specialize at one thing. Like I have those on the back burner. I wrote the first 2 books a long time ago, and then I wanted to stop, reassess what I wanted to do first, and what I need to do first is develop my primary source of income, which is going to be software engineering, which is why I'm mostly focused on on software engineering freelance work. Which please hire me if you need anything done.
What kind of stuff
I can learn. Currently, I'm working on. Well, previously I've worked on, and I'm going to use college projects as work history.
All right.
But I've worked with a team to implement the agile development cycle, which is specific to software engineering, where you try to complete work iteratively so that you constantly have something to give to the customer rather than slowly, progressively, and then get one thing delivered at the end of the cycle. To create a prototype of a social media platform called like In College, which is like a spoof off of LinkedIn, to try to get college students connected to each other before they enter the workforce, to get internships, opportunities, connections, everything else like that.
You know, if you were to actually make this, you could call it something more simple, like In Uni. Something like, I feel like that's more catchy.
Yeah,
I'm doing your work for you, man.
University.
In Uni. HU.
It sounds like there's a joke there.
Okay.
Hate you.
Hate you. That's how they say it.
Kill
They're
yourself.
British, man.
God damn it.
But
Hate you.
I've also worked with brain-computer interfaces and wireless drone technology to use EEG. It's like electroencephalography. I messed that up completely. But EEG data to control the movement of a drone. And I thought that was pretty cool. And you can control multiple drones at the same time. So that's fun. You can have your little drone army attack a person. And then I've been working on wireless communication with a digital multimeter, which measures electrical current, power, voltage, and everything like that from just your computer over Wi-Fi. And that's been pretty fun too.
Wait, sorry. Could you repeat that last one?
Just over Wi-Fi.
No.
Where,
like, what was it?
Remote control of a digital multimeter, which measures current, power, voltage, resistance, or sets resistance for the most part. But that's pretty useful in to the person that I'm working with, because he got one as like to test it out, and then he's going to buy it for, I think, his company, if he can do everything he wants with it.
Okay. So, you know, I kind of asked about like the situation that people find themselves in, but now what about the situation that you find yourself in when it comes to looking for other people, right? You know, as far as like values go, you know, especially like in, you know, the United States, right? You know, the likelihood that you'd find the right kind of person for yourself, you know, if you are somebody that is more traditional and wants that kind of life, is not as high as it used to be. I mean, you can acknowledge that at least, you know, so what essentially is your perspective on this? And, you know, at that point, is there a solution to it? What is it?
I would say number one, date early. I just saw a clip from Jordan Peterson where it's you really only have, at least for women, and then I think you should date someone around your age. There can be a little bit of variability. You really only have 11 years of your life where you can find a partner, which is age 19 to like 30, and then like, if you're not with a partner by 30 and you're not starting on children, you're probably not going to have at least healthy children. Might have a bit of...
That's the sound of hitting the wall.
It's the sound of the eggs drying up. No. But after the high risk pregnancy stage, it can be like the kid could have like Down syndrome, autism, higher chances of those too.
Right.
And I'm sure like a whole bunch of other different things, to where I would say you have no one to blame but yourself by that point. Same with having a whole bunch of miscarriages. If you're in your 40s and you're having a whole bunch of miscarriages, you have no one to blame but yourself for waiting for so long. It's a very
my career.
tough love thing to say. Oh boy. It's
I'm
a very
boss
tough
bitch.
thing to say.
I sat at a desk for 20 years and this is what I get.
I sat at a desk for 20 years and all I got was this lousy miscarriage.
That needs to be a t-shirt. Hey, official podcast ever. Merch here. We're gonna have like, you know, shirts that say this right on them. That's gonna be stained in red.
Oh God.
Yo.
Oh no.
It's really weird too how equality equals a miserable desk job for most of your life.
It's a psyop. It's so a psyop.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Oh, 100%. Like, I get it, but like, you would think that somebody would take like 2 seconds to like think about it for longer and be like, wait a minute, I had a great before. What the fuck?
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
women are starting to do that. I think what before we move back to that question, the interesting thing that we're seeing is Gen Z, the Zoomers, are growing up in like the culture of the millennials, and then are having like a backlash to that.
Hmm.
And their parents were like the Gen Xers, which aren't as bad as the Boomers, I would say. And they're having a backlash to that where they're becoming, or like some of them are becoming more conservative, everything like that. I'd say we're in that crowd. And then there's others which are going completely off the deep end with the LGBTQ AIP plus shit.
What the fuck? What?
Now, what's the P stand for, huh?
Yeah, hold
Either
on.
pedophile or
What's the second-
pansexual,
what's
up
the
to you.
second P stand for?
No, that would be
Uh,
M. They're maps.
Oh,
Of
yeah.
course,
Okay.
of course. But I'm worried about Gen Alpha. Gen Alpha are being raised by the millennials, and the millennials look like they're doing a pretty shit job.
Hmm.
Like gentle parenting and whatnot, where it's just like, oh, I'm an equal with my kid. I don't have any authority over them. That is giving them absolutely no direction in life. What the fuck are you doing?
Right.
It's
Not even being a
that's
leader.
terrible for a kid.
Right.
Yeah.
Now
Imagine.
maybe we'll be so back when Gen Z raises the kids.
Well, you still
think
have a generation
so.
that's going to be screwed with the
No,
Oh,
but
millennials.
but those will be like the millennials, you know, like they'll just return into them, and then we'll have a cycle of like millennials, and then the people that react to the millennials and all that, just over and over and over.
But I think Gen Z needs to refine the culture so that one, it becomes more conservative leaning. And conservative is a very loose term. It doesn't really mean much. I think you should conserve core values such as family, fraternity, community. So family, your immediate family, you should most certainly value them, love them, and then treat them with love, which doesn't just mean saying yes to everything they want or just being an enabler. Fraternity, having friendships across geographical barriers with those who you share values and ideas with, and then community, sharing, being good to the people of your geographical area and living in a geographical area that is good to you. So getting out of the fucking cities, going back to rural life, going back to villages of 200 people and whatnot, knowing your neighbor, being able to have that wholesome relationship with your community where you have the like barbecue on Sundays and everything else like that. Being able to have celebrations and appreciation for the time that you're spending with people, all those good things, and then of course having like building a family yourself. But if Gen Z can approach the right values, I don't think there's going to be a backlash. It just needs to not shove them down the throats. They need to parent well. But I think a lot of this generation, millennials, and the next one aren't going to be good parents. But it's just the responsibility of good parents to be fruitful, multiply, and then have their kids be good parents as well.
Yeah. So you kind of discussed, more of the solutions on the women's end, like date early and all that.
Yeah.
Now, but it is true that they would have like a lot more options if they were looking from earlier on. I mean, like it is going to be easier for them, especially, here. But what would your sort of advice be for guys? Like, what would you think the kind of things that they should be doing are?
Didn't we already go over that?
Yeah, for guys,
aside from raising people properly and all that, we're kind of, and not just like, because he gave the advice of like going to a place, but I kind of pointed out why that may not be the case for most people as far as how they're actually meeting.
You mean dating specifically?
Well, no, I'm well, yes, but also like finding the person, but also like, just advice in general as far as, how to like succeed overall, like toward the end goal. Like any advice relevant to that would be here.
We talked about that though, with the hustling.
I would say say that you secured, say that you got into a relationship with a girl who you are interested in, you more or less share values, everything like that. I would say people are generally persuaded by truth. They should, people need to convince themselves. So you need to expose them to truth, not push it on them, and then have them arrive to those conclusions themselves. What's a way that I can draw upon this? But people have, it's like there likely exists some magic set of sequences to convince someone of anything that is true. There's also likely a magic set of sequences to convince someone of something that is false. I think that's less likely to exist, but it's just, if it is true, and they are honestly seeking truth, then they will eventually come across it, come to the conclusion themselves. So just be true to your values. Don't try to compromise on them just to people please. And then you need to be, I would say, getting to a point where both you and your partner can accept that you want to be together forever through anything, no matter what. And I think that happens before marriage, and that needs to happen before marriage, isn't the important thing. And I think marriage is supposed to be the codification of that belief between each other, in front of the community, in front of each other, in front of family. And then it's supposed to be the point of the religious connotation of it, in front of God himself.
Or herself.
Bruh, themself.
How dare you
Gender
misgender God?
God has no gender.
Hey, he never
God is
flashed
trans, of
Abraham. I'm
course.
just saying. Or maybe he did. I don't know.
The burning bush was actually his bush.
See, but he only saw the bush. He didn't see what was under it.
Oh.
If I remember right, there's...
It was just like this. It was, if I could just shape it right.
There's a stoned ape theory, which is based off of some book, which is just like the history of humanity generally, and then also religion is related to psychedelics. So it's like the burning bush was maybe an acacia bush, which could have induced a hallucination. But
that's not entirely unfounded, at least in regards to the religious part, because I know, especially in like pagan circles, which a lot of, I've kind of talked about this before, pagan rituals and like beliefs intersect all the time with like what's considered like monotheistic religions, and there would necessarily be some like bleeding in of like the use of drugs and alcohol for what they would call like sacred rites and whatnot.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But anyway, moving back to what men can do. I can't necessarily describe everything that you need to get to a point where you will choose to stay with each other, but it's just like, be a good partner, be a good boyfriend, then fiance, then husband, to where you need to love the person for one, and then show that you love the person for two, and then take care, provide, protect, that sort of thing. To where there are like a whole bunch of books about romance and love and everything like that, getting to know those. It's a continuous process. I'm still working on myself. I'm certainly not perfect. But showing love to the other person, showing that you want to stay with them forever, expressing that, and then continuously showing love to them, is how you keep the relationship healthy. And then after you reach that point where you know that you want to be together forever, I think coitus is a
carnal knowledge.
Is an emotionally reinforcing activity, to where it can emotionally bond two people together so that they stay together more, so that they can stay together, be healthy, and then have kids in the future. The use of
do you hit it
birth
raw?
Controls, huh?
Do you hit it raw?
Do I get her off?
Do you hit it raw?
Hit it raw.
You
That's
said
a
the use of
little
birth
too
controls.
The use of birth controls, there are drawbacks to them, just like every other medical technology.
Doesn't feel the same.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. Getting out of the specifics. I'm just gonna let it hang there for a second. Getting out of the specifics.
You let it hang?
there you go. But that you don't want to have kids you certainly don't want to have kids if you don't think you want to be together forever with a person. And that's the point of, I would say, like, once you have reached that point of being together forever with the person.
Man, just put on a rubber. Don't have no baby mama, man. That's for our black audience. We just had to translate there.
I'm going to be honest. I don't think we're, well, I guess never say never. Go on.
We're never what?
Anyway.
Never what?
No, nothing.
I've lost my train of thought with the absurdity that has transpired in the past.
Okay, so you're talking about birth control, and then you were saying don't have kids with somebody that you don't want to spend the rest of your life with.
But after that point, even if there is a happy little accident, you can adapt. And it's just like, once you have the income to cover rent for like a house, because you don't want to rent an apartment while you have a kid. I don't think that's too good. I think that's too confined. Once you have the income to rent for a house, then you have the potential to hustle. Or it's just like, there are even so many means now to where, like, if you lose your job, it's just like, for myself, if I don't get something in software engineering, I want anything in information technology. If I don't get anything in information technology, I'm going to get any job, because I can't just not work for a time. I see people where it's just like, oh, I've been out of work for 6 months. What have you been doing in the short term? Applying. Nothing else. It's just like, you need to be working. Any time that you're not working, it's just like, for a short time, you should have applying as your full-time job. If you don't get success in the short term, then you should get a full-time job in whatever you can, and then have applying be your part-time job. I think people who get out of university and then can't get into their field, say gender studies, they then get a part-time job at Starbucks or something like that. And then sometimes apply. They just like look at the field and they're just like, oh, but it's so discouraging, or anything else like that. But then they like take on another part-time job applying, and then their other time, which would be used for, say, making one or the other their full-time job, they just use for goofing off.
To be fair to everybody except the gender studies majors, like the people that can't find work, like it is there is the job market isn't great. I mean, frankly, it's not. And I mean, it is discouraging in the fact that, like, people aren't used to this level of rejection, like to be applying endlessly to things and just never hearing back because the employers have so many people already applying, and they're just like not even really like reading your resume. They're just kind of like, I don't even know what they're doing. I mean, I think it's AI at this point running it. Yeah, at this point running it through AI. So yeah, of course, like people are going to be upset that like, there are hundreds of applicants per job, and that like their odds of like statistically getting like selected are just so low, so I mean, of course, it's like, people may want to give up, but it's not necessarily that they should. It's just, I understand the sentiment.
I would say I just had this thought on the fly, but I would say large language models are very good technology for appliers, and I think someone just needs to find a way to pipeline this, which could be possible. And I think it would just need like a ChatGPT sort of like API thing, but it takes your current resume, and then it takes the job posting, and then asks the large language model to modify the current resume to fit the desired qualities of the job posting, and then generates you a new resume. The harder thing would be like formatting it.
It'd be funny because like, they're going to try and use their AI to sort through it.
Yeah.
If everybody's using AI to like give them resumes, then they're gonna be like, how the hell are we supposed to sort through this now?
Exactly. Because what they do is they have an AI on their end that takes their job posting, analyzes it for the skills that they want, and then it cross-references that to all the resumes that they get. And if you don't have the skills that they want, then you aren't going to be a good match for the job. You can't
like
just
Tinder
have
all over again.
Yeah, you can't just have one resume anymore. You need to modify it for the job. So I think, but to manually modify that for a job takes like 30 minutes or something
Mhm.
like that. So it
And
just
if you're
needs to
doing
be
that for every
pipelined.
job, it's unfortunate.
Yeah, exactly.
And cover letters too, because they always, not all of them want a cover letter, but it's like, you know, they're like, oh, write a cover letter for your jobs. It's like, man, you know how many jobs people are applying to, because they're like, again, it's like the statistical odds of getting selected for this one job are so low that it doesn't seem worth your time to be spending that much on this one application.
No.
And so that
Cover
actually
letter
screws you
and a
over.
resume.
It screws you over, because then like their AI is sorting through and they're like, oh, well, it looks like this isn't as like dedicated of an applicant. It's like, what do you expect from me? Like, how I didn't know that I was going to get selected for this job if I did it for this specific one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I would say like I doubt that I'll be able to create that in a reasonable amount of time, but maybe.
I thought I saw something like that though.
I mean, couldn't you just dump a bunch of like fucking like data about like the job applications? Like it seems pretty straightforward.
I think the harder thing for me would be automatically formatting that.
Mhm.
But maybe you could use something like latex, where it is more so code based. Like latex is a I forget if it's a language or software. I think it's a language, and then there's different forms of software for it, but it's used for generating academic papers.
Mhm.
And I know this because I co-authored an unpublished academic survey on cryptographic technology related to blockchain.
So it was a college project.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hey, look, you actually presented that pretty well, though. That's a pretty good way to phrase it. I would be impressed if I were some employer, because I wouldn't even be thinking about that necessarily had I not like known you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Like I wouldn't necessarily know that what you're talking about is just like an assignment.
Yeah.
You should say that if you ever apply.
Yeah, I think I have that on my resume. But using that, then you can like generate the header easily, because you just write it out with code. Generate the header, like all your information, just regenerate that. And it would be, I would say then maybe it would be easy. But hey, I guess that's worth looking into, and then just hook that up to like a web service, and then just charge a little bit of a fee on that, and that'll be some income. And then if someone steals my idea, oh well.
So,
you know, I mean, I guess we're kind of like edging on this topic, you know what I mean? But it's like
edging.
Basically,
No. Edging is out. Gooning is in.
Okay. Well,
no, it is not. No, I reject gooning. Do not goon. Porn is bad.
I'm only mewing, okay? I'm not edging or jelking.
You
jelking's
can
okay.
mew and goon at the same time.
No, you don't goon, jelk. Jelk instead of goon, and you'll be better off.
And goon at the same time.
No.
Yeah, you can.
Just jelk. That's it.
What do you mean?
Only jelk.
Bruh. You
Only
don't
jelk.
know the platonic visions you get from gooning.
Platonic visions? Please describe in detail these platonic visions.
That's where he got the idea of the cave. He was gooning, and he's like, oh shit.
Oh shit. Okay, I see. Okay. Well, anyway, point being, you know, we've been beating around the bush a little bit.
We've been edging around this topic. Now it's time to goon about this topic.
Okay.
Which will give you the enlightenment to know you should be mewing.
I mew all the time. Now, except for when I'm talking. The thing here is that basically you're saying date young, and I assume you're saying that applies to men as well, right?
Yep.
But, you know, point being, and then also you're saying like part of the advice for men was like help the person that you want to be with see the truth, as far as like, you know, like certain, I mean, like maybe you could actually go into that a little bit more, as far as like, you know, what truth is there that needs to be presented? Why is that the case? I mean, but also like the fact that it's, you know, we have this sort of, you know, modern women as a term. I mean, I'm sure you've heard of it, you know, described. There's truth to it, right? I mean, would you not like, you know, would you not agree that there is like, you know, a larger percentage of women that act in a certain way, which is not very feminine. It's not very like, you know, preserving of their like, you know, purity or like femininity, or like, you know, even like, you know, I guess purity would be the right word. I mean, even that does include both like the actual feminine aspect and like the sexuality aspect, as far as like not just sleeping around, right? So it's like, you know, are you just saying like, you know, the guys that are convincing them are trying to convince the ones that are already doing these kinds of things, or is it ones that are, you know, like are about to, like, what, you know, what is sort of your perspective here?
So I would say, due to the failure of parenting by boomers, more so for the millennials, but Gen X in part, because there are still plenty of failures for Gen X. A lot of these Gen Z people are just going straight into OnlyFans, and I would say that's a failure of parenting. maybe the tide is turning because you have people like Riley Reid saying that she regrets porn, so maybe that's putting some younger people off, hopefully.
Yeah, maybe not too much.
You can only
Not
hope.
enough.
Yeah, not enough. But I think most people are normal to the fact that they would have like they'd have under double-digit body count, and that could still be very high. I think over over 5 is high, where it's just
Mhm.
like over those 11 years, I would say it makes sense for women to be in at most 4 relationships. You have 4 opportunities to really get to know a guy, and you should be abstaining from sexual activity in like the first bit of time because, hey, the chance of having a kid and then also the emotional connection to the person that you don't know if you want to spend forever with, um, everything like that. So you should only have like a body count of say 4, and it's just like it's okay if you do it, but yeah,
Have you
it's
seen that
not
image where
appropriate.
it's like this comic that was drawn and it's like a woman like laying on her back and then there's like a line of like naked guys and then there's like one guy in the middle of it with like a suit on and flowers
Gross.
and all that and then there's like a line of naked guys behind him.
She's not
Yeah.
yours. It's just your turn.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't want a girl like that. But I would say the important thing is to focus on getting a partner when you are young so that you don't have to one deal with not being in a place in your life where you can easily be exposed to women to like have a partnership with. So dating in high school, dating in college is important, or like that age, and then in those areas you can find a lot of people, you can be exposed to a lot of people, and they will be young enough to where they haven't made those um, decisions that you can't take back, such as sleeping around with so many people. But as far as the at post that point, I would say it's a little bit difficult to where maybe even just like if you're in your like mid 20s, go back to like community college because you were critiquing the Panera thing, for example, or like going to a coffee shop or something like that. Going to community college where you would spend class time similarly with those people. But like after mid 20s, that gets a little bit weird.
Mm-hmm.
I would say that's a little too much. But if you're in your like late 20s, um, I would say I would probably go with a dating app and then just be true to yourself. Of one, you need to have the appealing, you need to look good. You need to have the appealing dating app where you have first a picture of yourself and then maybe a picture of like something fun that you're doing, something that shows them something about you, and then a picture of your friends with you looking happy, smiling, looking good through all the pictures, and then have the good bio, have be interesting to talk to, everything like that. And I can't speak to too much of anything like that because I'm not in that sphere. I don't have
Mm-hmm.
to be good at that, which I'm very grateful for. Um, but uh, you don't want to waste your time on someone. Well, I wouldn't even say waste your time. You need to be able to distinguish, to determine like the essence of a person and see if they do have um potential to be your life partner.
Mm-hmm.
And then even if you have like minor to medium differences, I would say it is still worth giving it all you have, because the indomitable human spirit from your end and theirs can overcome. And it's not like in the far past people were just perfect for each other and then they just got together and were perfect for each other. No, they got together, had their differences, made it work. People have differences, they
They got
complement each
arranged.
other. Yeah. Well, that's not too good either.
Well, I'm not saying it is. I'm just saying
But yeah,
that like for a lot of people that was the
yeah,
truth
you
and
just
they just made it
make
work.
it work. Yeah.
I mean, it's not impossible to make that kind of thing work. Is not my like, you know, I'm not also saying it's impossible, but you know, they do even today. You know, I had like this math teacher back in the day that he's like an Indian guy, and he said he got like arranged with his wife, and I think people were asking him questions about like how much he loves her. He's like, you know, I learned too. Like, he's like, yeah, I'm fine. He has kids with her and everything, but like, you know, I don't know. I'm sure there's like a lot way. Like, I mean, I'm not, you know, just saying like I assume, but I'm just saying like, you know, obviously people are happier when they meet that person and they actually have like a genuine connection, as opposed to just saying, yeah, here's your wife. But you know, I'm just saying like that guy is still going to be less miserable than the people that are like, you know, probably, you know, like having the accidental pregnancy or some sort of thing where they just get married rapidly and then they just get divorced because of it. Like those people are more miserable than this guy, I'd say.
Yeah. But
I actually have an anecdote on that. I know a buddy whose brother, they come from like an old style culture, like what is that, like first generation immigrant or whatever, I guess, where their parents came over and then the kids are here. But he was dating this girl and they did it took me a while to understand what the hell that was and where it was coming from. But yeah, so he was dating this girl with the intention of marrying her because, you know, they instilled those values in him. But his parents did not like her at all. So they were like fighting back and forth over whether or not he was going to get married to her or not. And at the end, my buddy told me that he did win and he got married to her, and they just kind of had to suck it up because, you know, that's his son, their son. But
how it should be, unless you want to marry a man, then it shouldn't be like that.
What do you mean?
I'm saying if their son wanted to marry a man, then it shouldn't be like, they shouldn't have sucked that up, you know.
Well, but he would
suck that up.
Yeah,
he would be the one sucking it up.
But
I would blame
basically
the higher percentages of homosexuality in our culture on endocrine disruptors and then social contagion.
Social contagion, but also in the fact that like I think literally like the not necessarily like the fact that there's nobody out there, but the fact that like there have been lesser options for men over time, I would say is driving at least some.
Hold on. We can get into that. I just got to finish this point.
Sure. Yeah.
So basically what I heard from my buddy, and he didn't say it directly because he wanted to be respectful, so I'll give him that credit of him not actually saying it, but basically hinting heavily that the reason they didn't like her was because his entire family basically thought she looked fucking ugly.
Well, they don't want ugly grandkids.
All I'm saying is, and there is a biological reason why you would want a woman
because they don't want ugly grandkids.
Right. So I'm just saying, you know, maybe sometimes there's a benefit to arranged marriages. I'm not saying you should do it, but I'm just saying if you have rational parents and they know that you're a fucking, well, I'm not going to slander the guy, but they know that you're not exactly
a Latina.
Huh?
My son is marrying a Latina.
At this point, that's kind of what you got to do. But like if your parents know what's best for you and for whatever reason, maybe it's not even looks thing, maybe it's like other things like bad values or something like that, and they know it better than you do, and they know, like, they can actually get to that on an objective basis besides just, I'm your parents, I know best no matter what type thing, like an actual objective basis of understanding what you need for a wife or a husband, whoever it is. And
it's going to be more on the side of like what you need for a husband than for a wife.
Right.
As far as what the parents are deciding for the kid, you know.
Exactly. Like if they can make that judgment better than you can because you grow up in a society that warps the values that you actually should be looking for, or you're just not at the level where you're able to make that decision like consciously or in a future self-positive way, I guess you could say, then it wouldn't be the worst thing in the world to have an arranged marriage. Again, not supporting it, but I'm just saying there is a scenario where it could be a benefit.
Here, let's have a sort of middle ground. The man approaches the family of the woman he's interested in, and the family decides if the woman can be with the man. There we go.
I don't think that's a horrible decision, yeah. But like
that fixes it on both ends. That fixes it on both ends.
Well, it could also be that the family is looking.
Well,
for
the woman also needs to consent, right?
Yeah. You didn't say yes,
right?
When did we ever say that wasn't the case?
Yes, of course.
When did we say that was not the case?
But anyway, to make the necessary...
Go ahead. You got this.
To make the necessary proclamations about the topic related to homosexuality,
right.
People shouldn't be killed for being gay. You have the freedom to be gay. It's just other people have the freedom to not want to see that shit. And to keep, to keep their kids away from that shit. Especially pride parades, which have gotten very disgusting.
Hey, what about the straight pride parades?
I wouldn't attend those because I don't really care. Well, but I think endocrine disruptors and then social contagion are just a huge thing. Children being sexualized way too early, comprehensive sexual education has been a fucking disaster. I think in comprehensive sex education, even for like, because how old are kids when they see like the woman giving birth? Because I think that's fucking traumatizing for a kid.
I wouldn't know.
Schools try to traumatize kids related to that shit, where it's just like, here's all the STDs and shit that you can get from sex, and here's a woman pushing out a watermelon-sized baby from her poontang. And then it's just like, oh, if you want to look away from it, you can. Why would you want to look away from it? It's almost like it's traumatizing.
I never saw that. I'd only seen like the STD talk, but that wasn't until even like high school that I got that.
I didn't get any of that
in middle school.
I only got it in like PE.
I got the trauma from the abortion thing because religious school. But I mean, I'm gonna be honest, I'll take that over the other.
Yeah, I had a friend tell me from like 3rd grade until like high school, he was given it every single year.
Yeah, some places want that. They want it to be a continuous conversation with kids down to kindergarten or down to 1st grade. It's fucking insane. No, that sexualizes kids way too early. And their whole reason,
I don't think I'll send my kid to the prison camp.
They're like, they also talk about, they don't talk about just avoiding STDs. They don't talk about just not getting pregnant. They talk about comprehensive sex education, which means everything relating to sex, which means masturbation, self-pleasure, which means engaging in sexual intercourse with a woman, as well as engaging in sexual intercourse with a man for straight and gay relationships, which is fucking disgusting. Children should not be sexualized that early whatsoever. But their whole reasoning is, and this is like the most charitable interpretation of their reasoning is, these kids, at least some of them, are going to do it anyway. So we must tell them beforehand what these things are, how to do these things, so that they can do it healthily. No, that's disgusting. You are telling these kids how to engage in these things. You are sexualizing them way too early. In childhood, sexualization is traumatic. So they shouldn't be bringing this up with kids. And especially they shouldn't be going around parents' backs or deceiving the parents about what they're teaching the kids in order to teach it to them.
Even if you use that argument, a lot of people also point to the fact that people used to get married way younger and like have relations that lasted a lifetime way younger, like as opposed to now where, the average age of marriage is like late 20s, early 30s. Before it would have been like 18, even lower than that, depending on.
But even so, that got below like 16 it was always wrong. Like, I mean, 16 age people were developing at that point. They had more of an adult mindset. Like they had the psychological and physiological sort of like ability to do that. But anything below like fucking like, especially like below puberty, like what the fuck, seriously, right? How is that ever okay? There is no societal context in which that is okay.
Yeah, no.
You may say, it was accepted. No, those people were animals.
But even if you accept that, the point still remains they weren't sleeping around left and right, even in that context.
Well,
so
you
clearly there's another factor there.
Prior to birth control, you couldn't sleep around really because it was too costly. Like the risk of like even the condom breaking, everything like that. And prior to condoms, like to the like mass producible condoms, it's just like very rare. Only the town prostitute really sleeps around.
Right. But even then, I would still argue there was a set of values that would prevent that from happening, even if that existed still. Yeah. So when you do these things where you're showing kids all these things with the implication of basically hedonism, you're allowing that thought process to exist in the first place rather than just preparing them for a thought process that was already there.
But girls are being like having like these fucking birth control pushed on them from an early age, and it's like the doctor's like, oh yeah, you need this. You're fucking up that girl's hormones. You know what I mean? And like obviously that's going to have to do with your actual mindset as well. Like the hormones do affect that. And when it comes to like looking for a partner, you know, the ability to tell the flaws in that person are gone when you're actually on those. So when you get off them, like the amount of people that like separate after the fact because the woman's no longer on birth control and she's now able to see those, or I guess like detect them. I don't know if it's like, I know some of it might be like scent, like the women become repulsed by the man's scent afterward, you know, it goes up like so much. Like, so people are just like so likely to get separated after that happens. So I mean, like obviously it's just fucking with them to the point where it's like they cannot make sound decisions as far as who they even want to be with.
Yeah. What I would say is they prescribe it for fucking everything. Oh, your period's painful, you should go on birth control. Oh, you're having like heavier flow, you should go on birth control.
Imagine
the shittiest diet that we have ever experienced in the world. Oh, you are having menstrual pain, which can be which a shitty diet could be the cause of. You should go on this other drug. It's a pill to fit every ill. So then it's just like, oh, you get on birth control because you have a heavy period, and then you get depressed, so you get on antidepressants, and then you're suicidal, and then it's just like you got the Prozac fucking stare, the 1,000-yard Prozac stare, and you're just sitting there, and then you get on it however many fucking other medications. It's fucking.
Don't medicate your kids like that. Like, you know, don't give them these SSRIs that are going to cause them to have elevated serotonin levels. Don't give them fucking birth control. You know, if you really have hormonal issues from the environment, like, you know, you can look into things like progesterone. Like, you know, it's you can remove the excess estrogen like without and like there's other ways of like natural anti-aromatases. So it's like basically you don't need the birth control to regulate hormones. There are ways of doing it that are sound for the body and will not screw you over in the long run.
Yeah, I mean, you shouldn't really need to take a pill for problems that exist to begin with, because what you're doing is just adding another layer to the problem rather than actually circumventing the thing causing the problem.
Right. Yeah. They're just slapping like something over it so that you don't see the problem anymore, but it still exists, or it even worsens depending on what it is.
Or creates more problems.
Like, I mean, like literally like both hormonal birth control and SSRIs do that. They're creating insane people and people that you know, just like, I mean, well, you know, frankly, women of the night eventually taken to its conclusion.
This is and then it's just like there are so many softcore porn like jobs or softcore sex work jobs where it's like even being like the waitress at Hooters and everything like that. That's a bit of softcore sex work. That's not good. That's not respectable. And then there's like.
So okay, I don't know if I'd call that sex work, but you know, would I want my daughter to know?
I mean,
it's softcore.
The implication that you wouldn't want your daughter to do that means that it's at least adjacent to sex work. So
how many porn videos start with like the camera guy just like smacking the ass of a girl at Hooters? At least one.
Okay, how many porn videos start with a plumber at some lady's house? I mean, come on.
Plumbing and softcore. No, I'm kidding.
Hey, he works hard for the money.
That's true.
Hard. Long and hard.
Pick up your paycheck.
Anyway,
hey, plumbers get dunked on too much. They deserve it at this point.
You cleared those pipes, Mr. Sins.
They do overcharge though, so at the same time, fuck them.
I was
yeah, you know, hold on, funny story. There was this fucking like Ukrainian guy that came to fix my my dryer,
and of course he was.
Like he comes in, but I didn't realize, like I could tell he looks to like Eastern European. I didn't know exactly where he's from, but my dad like calls me over. He's like, "Hey, can you talk to this guy?" I'm like, "What the fuck do you want?" Like I speak Spanish. I'm like, "What?" And I'm like, "Are you sure?" And he's like, "Yes." And then I start explaining it. He's like, I do not speak this." So like, I'm like, "What the fuck is going on?" He just assumes every maintenance guy like speaks Spanish.
Well, like, listen, I mean, come on.
I mean, I get it, but he doesn't look like he's from there. He doesn't look like he's from there.
Yeah.
Wait, was he like pasty, transparent white like Ukrainians usually?
He looked a little bit like, I mean, like red as far as like sunburnt, like not necessarily like sunburnt, but like red as far as like that's the color he's gotten from like being in the sun.
Why would he assume that? Then? What?
He looked pretty white. Yeah, I don't know. He has like the sort of face as well. Like I could tell where he was from. I don't know. Maybe he was just like, oh, you know, try that. You know, see if it works.
The logical process was like, well, he doesn't look Hispanic, but he is a plumber.
Yeah. Well, when you think about it, if the person doesn't speak English, Spanish is going to be one of your best bets afterward, other than Chinese.
Yeah, even
maybe you should have had me start speaking Chinese to him.
Why Chinese? Are there
because
Chinese
statistically
plumbers?
speaking, I mean, like, you know, not necessarily in this area, but I'm just saying, like, as far as language is spoken, you know, I mean, technically, if we just take that statistic, I mean, you know, come on.
Worldwide, but not in the United States.
I know, but I'm just
not
saying.
Yet.
You know, we're saying worldwide. This is part of the world. We're just taking a sample of here, you know. But I guess Spanish would actually be like, if we're talking about the era, yes, Spanish would have been the second most spoken language. So, I mean, if anything, he kind of had a point as far as like statistically speaking, what was going to work next, as far as what we had on us, as far as the languages that we know. So, I mean, you know, not too bad of a point, I guess.
Would he start going up? Oh shit, never mind. I'm not gonna. That's a detail I don't know.
I guess Chinese is the second most, but it's like 5.2 or like second most after Spanish. But then it's Tagalog, which I have no idea what the.
That's Indian, yeah.
Oh, okay.
That's insane. Those people.
Austronesian language and the national language of the Philippines.
The last country that I don't know, that could be interpreted. Never mind. I'm not gonna say that. But I was gonna say, it's like how often do you think a Chinese guy would be a plumber in this great United States of A?
I don't see Chinese people as generally having those kind of blue collar
That's what
jobs.
I'm saying. I think like there might be exactly one person that was Chinese and a plumber at the same time in the US.
We need to see what plumbers would look like if they're black and Chinese.
I've seen a black plumber before.
I haven't. I need to see a black plumber and a Chinese plumber.
I just need one.
But there was one tick history video that I saw, and he's like, university is worthless. Here, let me show the basic math. And we're removing investments because that would weight it so heavily against university's favor. If you're going to university to become a professor, you will make more money as a plumber up until the age of like 61. Only then can you make more money as a university professor, because you are going into so much debt, you are not working for so much time that the math just doesn't work out that way. And this is in the UK too, so they get paid less for shit. But if you are a plumber, you will start working close to immediately. You'll have that apprenticeship, and then you'll start working. I think it's a paid apprenticeship too, usually. And then you'll start working. You will be able to afford renting a house or buying a house in that time. You will be able to have a family in that time and provide for them. And then you're just going to live so much better of a life versus just being a fucking loner professor, maybe having a wife where you're going to be dual income, no kids. And it's just like,
liberals.
What a miserable life. What a miserable life.
Yeah.
And you get that the free porn stuff.
What?
When you go into the house to like do the plumbing stuff, then the wife that's there would naturally be inclined to do some things. That's how it works, right?
Yeah, you've heard of the milkman having sex with the wife, right?
Milkman.
You've heard of that, right?
I still only know about that because of fucking.
But I'm asking Ignis here. You never heard of this? No.
I know how he likes
to. Let me tell you. How about I tell him about what the milkman and the wife, right? You know. So
I know he likes to not pour the milk pasteurized.
You already ruined it. You know, we were gonna have a whole bit here. I know you heard it already, but it was for the audience to have a bit here. But here I got one for you. Okay.
Okay.
I don't know if I think Ignis might have heard of this one. I'm not sure. I don't know if Greg has. See, thank you. So Johnny, he's basically just he's getting ready for school in the morning, right? And he needs to go to school, but he needs to get into the bathroom. So basically, what he does is that he opens the door, but his dad was already showering there. So the dad was showering, and he was done though. He was putting on the towel, but as Johnny comes in, it's too late. The dad hasn't put on the towel all the way. So he gets ashamed. He's like, man, my son's seeing me like this. But Johnny says, Dad, what's that between your legs? And his dad tells Johnny, he says, Johnny, this is my nerve. You'll have one like this one day. And Johnny is just okay. He's accepting it for what it is. He goes to the bathroom, goes to school. He gets to school. It's past his lunch period, and he's already eaten a lot and drank a lot of milk, and so he needs to urinate. He's back in class, but he needs to go. He really does. So he tells the teacher, "Hey, teacher, I need to go take a piss." And the teacher says, "Well, Johnny, no, there's already somebody in the bathroom. You're gonna have to wait." He's like, "No, teacher, this is an emergency." And the teacher says, "What, Johnny? There's nothing I can do for you. Somebody already has the hallway pass." And so Johnny, fed up with this, he needs to go right now. He goes in the trash can in the corner. He starts urinating in it. And so the teacher says, everybody's in shock, and none of the students can even say anything. But the teacher, surprised, says, "Wow, Johnny, you have some nerve." And Johnny says, "Thanks. You should see my father's."
There you go.
There you go.
Yeah.
I hate those jokes, by the way.
Why? What's wrong with it?
It's just too long of a story for such a not worth it of a payoff.
That's what I like so much about it.
Is that like a Little Johnny joke? You know those
Yeah,
jokes?
it's the Dirty Johnny. You know Dirty Johnny?
Little Johnny.
Well, I thought it was Dirty Johnny.
Anyways,
Nah, it's Little Johnny.
there was this one comedian that Michael Malice was referencing before, and his whole thing is he would do absolutely shit on stage for the first, like he would open for someone, do absolutely shit. Like
Would shit?
everyone would hate him. Like
On the stage?
yeah, like sorry, stand-up comedian. He would bomb the whole time, and then he's just like, if you guys laugh at this last joke, then I'll leave. And they're just like, fine. Says his joke. It was probably as unfunny as everything else. And then they all laugh, and he's just like, oh, I think I'll go for an encore. And then keep going before he finally leaves. But just the concept of that, removed from any of his like specific material, just the concept of that is funny. But I think I would absolutely hate it if I was like
unsuspecting
like
person.
one of those customers.
Yeah. Does he like record those and put them up, or is it just kind of like he just tortures people for the fun of it? You know, not even for any audience.
I think Malice has probably said his name before, but I forget it. But just like, yeah, that's what I thought of when you're saying your shitty joke.
This is like the third episode you've done this.
What he
Right,
said,
right.
what it jokes.
Yeah.
Like it's a joke that he sets up, and then the punchline is just kind of like,
Meh.
Probably
There you go.
is. But, you know, that's the fun of it.
I mean, maybe.
Oh, you know what? How about I get one for you right here? I'll make it up to you guys. Okay. So basically we're at a bar, right? You know, this is we're looking into one. You know, there's a farmer sitting down. He's got a glass of wine. And so there's a lady next to him, and she says, you know, cheers, because she also has a glass of wine. They clink. And the farmer says, oh, you know, you celebrating anything tonight? And she says, yeah, actually. You know, I had gotten pregnant. You know, my husband and I had been trying forever, but we weren't able to do it. And so the farmer says, wow, what a coincidence. You know, I had actually been trying to get one of my hens, you know, to you know, be fertile. I had been trying for so long, you know, but, you know, nothing was working. And she said, oh, well, you know, that's interesting. What exactly did you do? And he said, well, you know, being a farmer, he said, I tried a different cock. And she said, interesting.
That's it.
So did she. There you go. Hate it. Still hate
Yeah, I
it.
made it up to you.
Yep.
Anyways, we got any other topics on the list other than shitty jokes?
They were pretty good.
I don't know about that one. Like at most, those jokes are like the slight exhale of air through your nose type jokes.
Yeah.
Not like or like a polite laugh from like a stranger type joke. Like, oh, ha, that's pretty funny, and then you move on with your day.
Yes. Now,
or a drunk joke. It would be way funnier if I was intoxicated.
Yeah, how about we do that for the next show?
Intoxicated. No.
A drunk show?
Let's just start doing it for the show, and then things will be funnier, you know?
It's true. It'll be fucking train wreck.
Take a shot every 10 minutes.
Yeah, exactly. Why 10 minutes? Why not every 5 minutes?
No, because you need the show to last at least an hour.
Yeah.
Just
Whatever you
absolutely
How long does it take you to process
sloshed.
alcohol like that?
You said what?
How long does it take you to process alcohol like that?
I forget. I remembered it was like a certain number, but it's like half a drink an hour you can process. I forget.
We could probably do 5 minutes.
Half a drink an hour.
Yeah.
It's low.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, it doesn't process too fast.
Yeah.
But,
That explains a lot, actually.
That's why if
Yeah.
you're just like sipping on like a cider or any beer or something like that, you won't get too drunk. But if you slam it down, then you can get kind of buzzed.
Yeah. I would never slam down a cider
I
though.
remember there was this guy I was
Okay.
living with, and he pretty much just woke up at like probably like noon or something. And what he would do is he would go to the fridge shirtless, open the fridge, and say, you know, it's time for a Corona, and just like swish the bottle down, like do the twister thing where like it goes down your throat really quick
Oh,
because he
yeah.
just like spins
Vortex
it, and that's
in
like
it,
his
yeah.
breakfast.
Not even an egg before?
He might have had a lime with it, but he didn't eat any food until, you know,
Wait,
probably
wait,
after.
wait. A
It's the guy.
lime?
Yeah, a lime.
Oh,
A
okay.
lime, not a lime.
Now here's what you got to do with the Corona. Here's what you do: you take a little swig, and then you crack 2 raw eggs in, and then you swish.
That's actually a breakfast. I saw it on what was it, The Wire or something like that?
What is this,
A
like
bunch
from
of, like,
Spain or something?
No, it's like a poor northeastern kind of breakfast. You get a thing of beer and you throw some eggs in it.
In the beer,
Yeah,
raw.
yeah.
Why?
Protein.
But why?
I don't know.
What do you get
I'm
out
not
of
a
that?
fucking.
What do you get out of that?
It's eggs, so it's technically breakfast.
I think the people that eat Pop-Tarts for dinner have less miserable lives than these people, honestly.
I mean, that's why they live in the
yeah.
Northeast.
They all do.
All the miserable people happen to be born in the Northeast.
Yeah. I say just get rid of it.
Whoa.
No,
I
you're right.
might
There's too many
like
white people
New
there.
Hampshire still.
We can't do that.
I thought we were still talking about Europe, like European Northeast.
Oh, what was that? Like Estonia, Latvia,
Yeah.
Lithuania, maybe Russia.
All
No,
of
they're
the
good.
Eastern Bloc
Not
states.
Finland though.
They don't put
Get rid
eggs
of
in their
Finland.
beer. I don't think so.
Hold on. People have been putting eggs in their beer for a long. They spelt along like as in like a long.
Yeah. ALONG.
Yeah, like one word. In their beer for a long
Illiteracy.
time as a way to fortify their alcoholic drinks and make them more nutritious.
Terrible.
Yeah, I don't think that's how that works.
It's the fact that you're mixing it with beer, I think, is the worst part. You know, it's like, why beer? I get it's cheap, but like, why? You know, you do this with like wine or something? Yeah, exactly. Dude, at the same time, we'd have the same thought because it's true.
It would be too sweet though, I guess.
So?
I don't know.
Helps wash it down.
I'm playing devil's advocate here.
Why don't you just use, and are they using whole eggs? Like, why not just the yolk?
I think they are using whole eggs, yeah.
It's not great.
How do you get that down to like beer spout thing? Or like the
funnel, maybe? I don't know.
I guess.
Oh, well, in the show I was watching, it was like a what do you call those? The Stein glasses. So they're just open, and then you drop the eggs in there.
What a disgusting note to end on. Do we have anything else?
Yeah, we need to fix that.
We need to update this. I can't. I mean, I would have rather ended it on the jokes than that. This is just
Kendrick Lamar.
He's Baby Keem.
Okay.
Did you say who's Kendrick Lamar?
Oh no, I mean like who's Kendrick Lamar of the guests here?
What do you mean?
Is it supposed to be you?
What do you mean?
This episode is featuring Kendrick Lamar.
What do you mean? The audience can't see anything like that. What do you mean?
I guess that's just to the backstage.
Yeah, so I mean, you know,
he's here. He's just not on
Kendrick
in the stage.
Yeah, Kendrick's in the back.
Okay.
Whoa, what do you mean? He's in the back?
Children. Child.
Yep. What makes it
I'm going to assume you took a shot so that you'd laugh at the joke.
What makes it funnier is that he probably would write a song about that too.
No. I'm in
the back. I'm in the back.
I'm in the back of the bus like I was Rosa Parks. They told me I got to sit there because the young nigga dark.
Well, there you go.
He's Baby Keem. We are not the Waynes.
Jesus Christ. Well,
is that not a Kendrick song?
I don't fucking know. I don't know Kendrick Lamar.
Honestly, it sounded like it could be. We should just produce that for him. I think it'll get big. You know, he's got some hits in him still.
Still. Kendrick, you got this one thing. You're gonna love it. But we need you to say this specifically.
He'd have a problem with us writing the N-word because you know that thing with the fan that was doing it, like he called her up on stage and like she was rapping along to the song after she was called up on stage, and when because it's like the Good Kid, Mad City song where it's like a bunch of uses of the N-word, so like she was singing it, but then he's like, oh, stop the show, why this bitch doing that?
What did you expect? What the fuck?
Yeah, you called her up.
You don't say that. Only black people say that,
I think it could have been a nice moment of unity if you just let her say it.
Right.
Just gave her the pass.
And then just instead
still don't
decides to ruin this woman's life for however long she was remembered by the public.
Which was only like a week or something like that.
I think it was a little bit more than that, but yeah, around that time. I mean, obviously we're bringing it up again, so we remember. I just don't know who the hell the lady is, So if I see a lady in the street, I'm not going to think, yeah, that's every time I hear you in the streets, I hear, yeah.
Well, there you go.
See, that was great. You got anything else, Ignis? What do you want to say? Do you want to leave the audience with some sort of message? Do you have anything you want to talk about that really you want to reinforce from earlier in the show, or just anything you want to, just talk about for these last few minutes?
I was just going to say before he says that, we do need to do our Muslim dick writing for a second.
Oh my God.
After that, though.
Live the trad lifestyle, but understand what the trad lifestyle is. It's not necessarily every single tradition that we have. It's not necessarily every Muslim tradition, especially following in the Prophet's footsteps and marrying a alleged 12-year-old. Yeah, of course.
Alleged 12? I think you mean 9?
I think met her when she was 9, married consummated when she was 12, maybe.
Yeah, I didn't even ask you this during the show, but I need to I forgot, and I need to ask right now before you keep going.
It's now. Aisha. What do you need
thoughts on Passport Bros?
Passport.
I need that before we leave because I hadn't asked it. I'm ashamed that I haven't asked it yet. I should have earlier, but
you're ashamed you haven't asked it.
I'm ashamed I didn't even think of it earlier. I mean, I did think of it, but I didn't ask it, and I didn't remember when to ask it. So we're gonna have it right now.
Once we end this recording and you forgot to ask it, you would have felt like this heavy guilt.
Yes,
like
I'm gonna go
soul crushing guilt.
Yes,
you would have been sitting on your bed with a gun, ready, just because I should have asked.
Perhaps.
I would say it doesn't. It adds a lot of variables to the relationship that could make for an unhealthy marriage, because there's a reason why celebrities date celebrities and not usually normal people, because of the differential in status and whatnot. So when you have an American who makes a decent amount of money going to South Asian country or something like that, where they're poor as all get out, and then it's just oh, you look pretty, I think I'll choose you. That won't necessarily make for the healthiest marriage.
Is it because he doesn't speak Chinese?
I don't think they speak too much Chinese in South Asia.
No, it's still Chinese. Is it because he doesn't speak whatever language they speak in that given country?
I mean, the language barrier can be an issue, and then it's just on her end, how does he know that she's not doing it just for his money or citizenship or visa or anything else like that? On his end, she knows he's just doing it for the status that she's in, and then how pretty she is and everything like that. Or maybe
I think that's kind of just generally accepted as far as why guys choose women.
I mean, it's just you're not just choosing a servant. You're not just choosing a piece of eye candy. You're not just choosing a trophy. You're choosing your life partner, and your life partner is more to that. They are a human. You need to be best friends with them if you want it to last as well, because you're going to be spending every day with them. If you don't want to build up resentment, you need to be able to be the best friend of that person and have them be your best friend. Okay. So it's way deeper than just any shallow, oh, she looks good and she'll cook.
Yeah, but I mean, you can still form an emotional connection with that person if you decide to do that.
Yeah, you can make it work. It's just, it's adding a lot of variables to where it's not, it's a different set of challenges.
Okay.
What if they are from a relatively more Western culture? What if we're talking about like Mexico or something like that?
I mean, it can still add some challenges. It's just the term passport bro. I just see it as having a lot of negative connotations. Traveling to a different country to meet a person is all right. I think it's a little bit tough because prior to that, it was probably if you're going to meet a person that you met online prior to that, it was like an online relationship. And that just doesn't give you the same depth of connection as knowing somebody in real life and interacting with them in real life. But if you're going to another country to live there for like a year, maybe look for a partner and then move back, that's a bit different. That's more so genuine. But like trying to find a partner over the internet, don't recommend it.
I see. I don't necessarily think that they're going through the internet first. I mean, like, I think some of them just go there and then search.
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, you were going on with your end spiel. I just wanted to add that in.
Family, fraternity, and community, those are values worth preserving, I would say. I'd say the most meaningful thing that you could do with your life is orient it to raise kids, not just to have kids, but to raise them and to do it well. And for that, that requires you organize and orient your life in a way that would facilitate that, which requires acting virtuous, accumulating wealth, being a good partner, and just so many other steps. Because I think people usually have the dichotomy of to have kids or not to have kids, and you shouldn't be having kids, you should be raising them. You shouldn't just be sending them off to public school or daycare or anything else like that. You should be raising them.
I would say that counts as child abuse at this point.
It's neglectful. It's so neglectful.
Right.
And then just some parents are terrible. Like even if they're working from home, they're just like stuck in their office. They hire a nanny or a babysitter, and the kid just like tries to get their attention, and literally it is just the nanny's job to keep the kid from bothering the mom or the dad or whoever's working at home. And it's just like, God, they're crying out for you. They want to be with you so bad, and you're just shoveling them off onto somebody else who will never care about your kid in the same way that you can, that you have the potential to, but you're just letting them down. It's certainly neglect.
Did you see the thing with the two gay dads that were looking for like a nanny, basically, like where it's like, because obviously they're going to be looking for a woman, but it's
Can they
it's
really
somebody
be
that can
dads
basically,
though?
huh?
Can they really be dads though? I don't think they
Oh.
like they satisfy the definition of dad.
That is a good point. I should correct myself. These two males that have essentially bought a child would like to have a woman presence, because clearly there's something they can't provide this kid. And, essentially they want somebody that's working like 6 to 8 hours a day, taking care of that child for the first few years of that child's life, essentially giving it a mother and then taking it away after a while, after it's satisfied the needs of actually raising it to an extent, and then just ripping that person away and having these, this kid is left with two men.
It just seems cruel. That seems cruel.
Why are these gay people always adopting kids? Makes you think. Why is that?
I think it's, if you're gonna be gay, if you're gonna go down that life route, and I'd say,
why is it always boys?
Fingers crossed you're at least bi. If you're attracted to men, fingers crossed you're at least bi, as like if you're a man, because, and then just choose to live a straight lifestyle over that. Because like if you're gonna be gay, don't harm the kid. Because
I like how you have to specify that.
Yeah. Don't harm the kid, because even like what you're describing is just like either you won't provide a mother figure in their life, or it's just like if you're gonna go the surrogate route, you're tearing them away from their true mother. If you're gonna go the adoption route, that's slightly better, but you aren't giving them a mother to raise them, and children are optimally raised, who knew, by a mother and father. They provide different things. Men and women are not interchangeable. So then it's just like, just go for the hedonistic pleasure. Definitely, I think you can get a similar, but definitely not the same, interaction between men where they can civilize each other. I think they most certainly don't do the same. I don't think a man can civilize a man like the way that a woman can civilize a man. I think, honestly, they just usually resort to hedonism between each other. And I think a lot of straight relationships can resort to just hedonism, and I think that's what we see in Dinks. Oh yeah, there was some
Dinks?
headline that the double income, no kids. There was
Oh.
some headline that I saw today, which is just like Seth Rogen, where he's just like, man, on weekends I get to smoke weed and lay naked watching TV with my wife, and if I had kids, I just wouldn't be able to do that. Yeah, and it's just like, wow, okay, but it's just like, don't pursue hedonism, pursue having kids, pursue that which has meaning.
I don't know. I don't think I'd want Seth Rogen to have kids, if I'm being honest.
Oh yeah, like if you're just gonna go in on the hedonism, and he's already like what 40 something, so like
Weed is
Yeah,
estrogenic, Seth.
but it's just like if you're gonna go in on the hedonism in terms of the lifestyle that you're gonna live, that is not a environment fit to facilitate the raising of a child. So pick your life path. You gotta pick it early though.
Yeah.
I would
All right.
agree.
So for Greg, you wanted to do something with the Muslims real quick, service them, you
Yes.
say?
I grabbed my English translation of the message of the Quran,
Mhm.
and I flipped to a random page, and it just so happened the random page and the random passage I looked to on this page happened to mention Jews. I don't know what that says about
Wait, what
the
is the
religion.
passage?
Hold on, I'll read it. How do you know how like Christians do the whole a reading from the how do Muslims do that? Is it the same thing then? Oh yeah, hold
You
on.
mean like citing the like passage page number?
Yeah.
You actually are kind of supposed to sing it, I believe.
Suratu al-Bagara.
Like, I mean,
There
sing
we
the
go.
actual words, I believe, but I mean, it's supposed to be in Arabic, of course. But I just mean, like, you know, apparently,
Like a sort of like rhythmic sort of.
I
yeah.
can't speak cursive right now, so I'm working on it.
Can't speak cursive.
The
I can't
Jews
speak
say-
Minecraft enchantment table.
The Jews say the Christians have nothing firm to stand upon, and the Christians say the Jews have nothing firm to stand upon. Yet they both say that they hold on. Yet they both say that they read the same book. Like the words they say, they do not know what they say. But Allah will judge between them in their dispute on the day of judgment. Peace be upon the Almighty Father. Salam, I guess. I don't know. I guess that's a version of Amen.
Okay. So is that the piece for today?
No. I got to give the homily now. I don't know how Muslims do it, but I'm going to assume it's similar to the Catholic way, which it probably isn't. So what does the Prophet mean, peace be upon him, when he says this? I just realized I can't show this to my friends anymore after this. Yeah, that's
Your
gonna.
Muslim friends.
Yeah, it's not gonna work. Whatever. But anyway, what does the Prophet, peace be upon him, mean when he says that? Any
It's just
guesses?
like, Jews, Christians, same book. They say each other wrong, but same book, so they're both wrong. But it's just
I don't even think they use
not
the
to
same book,
disrespect
technically.
Islam,
The Old
but
Testament.
that was pretty vacuous. There was like no content there.
There are books in the Old Testament that Christians don't use and Jews do use, and then on top of that, the Jews don't use the New Testament. So you can't really say it's the same
Yeah,
book.
it's not really the same book. And like the whole point of Christianity is like, oh, the new covenant that Jesus made with us, so we don't have to follow old Jewish law because we just need to follow the new covenant, which is just believe in him.
Yeah, I was making that argument earlier. If you're a Christian and you're truly believing that Jesus is the fulfillment of the old covenant or creating a new covenant, whichever way you want to frame it, you could technically get past just ignoring the entire Old Testament if you really wanted to.
Yeah. The difference, this is going to open I'll keep this short, but one of the things that Jordan Peterson talks, or like that I think that we can get from praxeology, and I think relates to what Jordan Peterson says, is just like the demonstrated preference of action, to where if you believe something, you're going to act it out. So it isn't that acts get you into heaven or belief gets you belief gets you into heaven, but acting out your belief gets you into heaven, where if you truly believe in God, then you are not going to murder or anything else like that, because that requires, in a way, a disbelief in God or something like that. I won't give the full.
I believe
apologetics
Big Brother is watching me at all times, so I will never commit a crime.
Yeah. But that, I think that is a fair understanding of like the distinction that between like Catholics and Protestants, where it's like people like to say that Catholics it's just like, oh, acts get you into heaven, I think, and then Protestants it's just like, oh, belief gets you into heaven. But I think Catholics have a point similar to that, where it's like your action must align with your belief, but only God can truly know who believes what and see into your mind and everything. And so
Thought crimes.
Yes. I'm glad you brought that up.
looking
'Cause
upon
Protestants are
a woman lustfully is adultery.
fucking retarded. I hate. Hold on. I'm less inclined to believe in a Protestant worldview. But yeah, if I'm gonna like, I'm not even religious anymore. But like, the Catholic/Orthodox tradition in regards to the actual theology makes way more sense in the, well, I believe Jesus. All right, I'm set. Because then you can just justify doing anything,
Mhm.
which
Yeah.
doesn't seem like it would make sense in the religion.
Yeah.
All right. So with that, we will address more of that in the future episodes, the future installments of the podcast ever. Now, inshallah, all of our podcasters will find themselves their trad wives and live happily ever after. But if you got to work on yourself, keep yourself well. And this has been the podcast ever.
Okay. There you go.